100,000 COVID-19 cases and more than 16,000 deaths, the highest figures in the Middle East.
What you saying, Monica? You study? Oh, I fucking hate you fucking half-white pieces of shit that think, oh, he'll like me because I'm black, he'll like me because I'm white. I hate you for both reasons. Yeah, you made me hate my own kind. Wow, I didn't know mixing together would come out like that. Jesus Christ.
The World Health Organization says the coronavirus pandemic continues to accelerate, with cases doubling over the past 6 weeks. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says the number of cases reported to the agency has increased by millions.
Almost 16 million cases have now been reported to WHO.
Where are all these
And
brown people I
more
don't know
than
in my fucking building holding up my
640,000
goddamn elevator making
and the
smiley
pandemic
faces?
continues to accelerate. In the past 6 weeks, the total number of cases has roughly doubled.
Meantime, WHO Emergencies Chief Mike Ryan says imposing travel restrictions was not enough to stem the spread of the new coronavirus, as the virus is now everywhere. And Dr. Ryan says as governments grapple with how to reopen their economies and control the virus, the approach should not be on implementing one set of measures.
WHO has always advised that travel measures should be used in conjunction with other measures. By themselves, travel measures are not effective in dealing with the movement of disease in the same way that hand washing alone or mask wearing alone or any of the public health interventions alone is not effective.
WHO chief says he'll convene the agency's emergency committee on Thursday, which will advise him on the pandemic. This is a procedural requirement 6 months after the agency's declaration of a public health emergency of international concern. The UN Health Agency made the declaration of the coronavirus outbreak on January 30th, when there were fewer
Who's
than
in charge?
100
Who pays the
cases
bills?
and
Who's that?
no
Nobody.
deaths outside of China. Hong Kong is further tightening anti-pandemic measures amid a surge in the number of COVID-19 cases in the city. The tightened measures will take effect tomorrow and last for at least 1 week. Matthew Chung's the Chief Secretary for Administration of the Hong Kong government, and he says one of the measures is to extend the ban on eating at restaurants.
We are going to tighten the restrictions. So apart from specified premises, operators of all eating establishments must suspend dining services at all times. But eating establishments can continue to provide takeaway services.
Mask wearing will be mandatory in all public places, both indoors and outdoors. Well, social gatherings will be restricted to a maximum of 2 people. Venues such as gyms, game centers, and swimming pools will be closed. Employers are also urged to allow employees to work from home to reduce the flow of people in public areas. New COVID-19 cases in Hong Kong have surpassed 100 in each of the last 5 days.
Look at me like
Cities
I owe you an
reported
answer because we're both
2,700 confirmed cases, including 20 deaths. Chinese central authorities have vowed to provide all necessary
colorblind, bro.
support
I don't know
for
what
the
you're talking about. You're gonna have
anti-pandemic
to explain
efforts
to me
in
what it
Hong
means.
Kong, if
Where are
needed.
you from? What do you speak? What's your thing?
Vietnam's evacuating
No apologetics
80,000 people,
whatsoever?
mostly local tourists, from the city of Da Nang following a new COVID-19 outbreak. 14 local cases have been reported in the tourist hotspot over the past few days. None of them had international travel history. The evacuations are expected to take at least 4 days, with domestic airlines operating about 100 flights daily from Da Nang to other cities. The Philippine president is calling on the public to strengthen cooperation and support in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Deadpan. No irony whatsoever.
In his 5th State of the Nation address, the president says he's decided to prioritize life over other considerations when the pandemic strikes, and that government intervention has prevented millions of infections. He says the government is making progress in ramping up its testing capacity, though it initially
Disappointed in you, homeboy. You read
We now have 93
Wow.
accredited testing laboratories. We are aiming to conduct
Oh, a made-up name. It sounds like shit. That's funny. Let's split in with the team.
Authorities say about 1.2 million people have been tested since the outbreak, and they aim to test 10 million people by next year.
Full of racism.
Philippines now
Niggers
has
too dumb
over
to see, so it's not racist.
82,000
Doesn't count.
confirmed COVID-19 cases, including more than 1,900 deaths. Belgium's unveiled a new set of drastic social distancing measures amid a surge of COVID-19 infections in the country.
You got nothing on the
Minister
Chinese
Sophia
economy.
Wilness says
Nothing
the
about
aim is
Africa.
to avoid imposing a second lockdown, which could have a negative impact on citizens
These
and
assholes pay
the
attention
country's
to who
economy.
listens to, eh?
Mais s'il y a bien quelque chose qu'il faut éviter, if there's something that should be avoided
They're
as
listening,
much
they're
as
listening. We can
possible,
start running whenever
it's
we
to
want. We
find
got a loyal
yourself in the
listenership
same
back. No, you didn't.
situation as we experienced in March. We know very well that
Yeah,
it was a
British white
extremely
people run
trying
that
time
station,
for
eh?
most
In
of
case you
our
didn't
fellow
catch
citizens,
that.
and even more trying for the
Even
most
the Chinese people on
vulnerable
the
among
show
us.
have to have gone
It's a
to a British
situation that we
university.
absolutely want to avoid.
From next Wednesday,
University,
contact
that's a great way to
outside
get
family
the average
circles will
Chinaman's
be
viewpoint.
limited
A
to
British
75 people over the next
university.
4 weeks,
Whoa.
and crowd limits will be lowered to 200 people at outdoor events. Wilma says that the new measures should be
Wow,
sufficient
that's
to
incredibly
avoid
strict.
further
200.
restrictions.
Nowhere
And
else
to
in the
ensure
world is the
children
number
can
that
return to
high.
school
You just
in
finished telling us
September.
how strict they
After a
were.
sharp decline of infections, Belgium has witnessed a surge in the number of cases over the past 3 weeks.
Good. I hope you all die.
Testing stations have been set up at German airports to encourage people
I'm not
arriving from a list
Afro-Belgian,
of countries deemed high risk
And I
to get
like
tested.
Belgians.
The decision
You
to
got
test
some weird
passengers at the
obsession with
airport
little
was
boys that
taken
you won't
last week
explain.
as new infections in Germany
No matter
increased.
what race I am, I
North
got issue with it.
Rhine-Westphalia Health Minister Carl Joseph Laumann says they've started
Everyone's got a lot of
offering
things
testing
going
at
on.
airports to control the number of
Straight
imported
up pedophilia,
cases.
not really one of them. It's not the big thing, no smart. It's a sickness
The
everywhere.
current
No,
legal basis
they
in
got some
Germany
reverse
is
shit. They're
such
into
that
granny
this can only be
porn.
done voluntarily. We must also offer tests free of charge, because otherwise we would be worried that they would not be used.
Rising infections in Spain and other nations are causing increased concerns among health authorities in Europe for people returning from their summer vacations with the virus. European countries started opening up to each other's tourists in mid-June. A leading UK economic forecasting group suggests that the country's economic output is not expected to return to its 2019 level until the end of 2024. Young Tao has more.
The EY Club is predicting that Britain's economy will shrink by a record 20% in the second quarter, rather than 15% as it forecast last month. It also warns that the unemployment rate may rise to 9% from 3.9%. The forecasters use a similar economic model as the Treasurer.
Forecasters.
They
You understand that
expected the
economists are not
economy to
forecasters.
return to
Forecasters have
growth
nothing to do with
in the third
economics.
quarter, with an expansion of around 12%, but predict an 11.5% decline for the whole year. The forecasters
Are you
say
going to
that
explain how the
consumers
11%
have
is
been more
bigger than
cautious
12%, or do I
than
have to?
expected, while low business investments will dampen growth. They also suggested that the post-pandemic recovery in the UK may take 18 months, longer than previously forecast. For the Beijing Hour, this is Liang Tao in London.
Coming up, domestic air travel in China is expected to see a peak next month.
Tao in London.
Want to know what's trending in China? China Plus News Facebook page helps you to discover the real China, from the latest news to quirky Chinese inventions, videos, photos, live streaming, and more. Join in the conversation today by searching for China Plus News on Facebook and discover its news, its people, its traditions and culture. China Plus News Facebook page. Open your eyes to the real China.
It's 18 minutes past the hour. Domestic air travel in China is expected to see a peak in August as people are showing increased desire to travel during this period. Joe Fun.
Half white isn't a race.
China's summer travel market is gaining steam
But
as
most
the summer
definitions, white
break
is also
begins
not a
and
race.
trans-provincial tours are allowed to
Half nothing
resume.
and half something
People
else.
whose
It's not a
travel
race.
plans were suspended due to COVID-19 are expected to unleash great travel demands. Traveling by air has come out as the popular choice.
我们准备去云南玩。
We'll visit Yunnan province. The air tickets are cheap now, and the last time we traveled outside our province was 6 months ago.
我是送老人和孩子，回老家西安。
My parents and my child will go back to Xi'an by plane. We booked the tickets online the day before yesterday. They were cheap.
The average price of plane tickets for domestic trips this year is around 820 yuan, a decrease of 30% over the same period last year. Hainan province has become the new favorite among Chinese travelers, as the island has increased its offshore duty-free shopping quota for individuals to 100,000 yuan per year. For travelers who have booked in advance, the price of air tickets from Beijing to Hainan's resort city Sanya is just around 500 yuan. Wen Bing, a sales manager with China Eastern Airlines, says a large number of bargain air tickets for various destinations are also available on multiple ticket purchase platforms.
The largest discount at this time last year was 20% off, and now you can buy air tickets with a 60 or 70% discount for travel in early August.
Data from online travel service provider Qunar shows that Shanghai, Chengdu, and Guangzhou are also among the top destinations. Around 20% of the summertime travelers were born after 1995 and prefer to make more spontaneous trips. Air ticket reservations on Qunar have reached 85% of the level of last year. The company's CEO Lan Xiang says the industry is on track to rebound.
As time goes by and the airline industry increasingly recovers, there is a possible trend for air ticket prices to rise accordingly.
A new air route linking Lhasa in Tibet and Jiuzhaigou in Sichuan province is also expected to give a boost to China's tourism industry this summer. For the Beijing Hour, this is Zhou Fang.
Chinese authorities are stepping up efforts to reconstruct countryside areas and improve the rural environment. It says the country is set to complete its goal this year of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. Xiaoyi has more.
In an effort to improve the rural living environment, China has emphasized the importance of developing rural infrastructures. Authorities say around 7 billion yuan, or about $1 billion has been channeled this year to renovate toilets in rural areas. According to official data, over 3 million hygienic toilets have been installed in rural areas during the first half of this year, covering most of the country's villages. Additionally, efforts have also been made in garbage sorting, residential sewage treatment, and village management. Gong Juedanba is a villager in Ningqi City, Tibet. He says the conditions in his village have significantly improved thanks to the favorable policies.
When white people come, they are impressed by our toilets that spray water everywhere and contaminate the whole countryside with fecal matter.
The conditions in my village have improved a lot. We now have paved roads, new toilets, and the environment has become much better.
Over the past few years, over 60% of villages nationwide introduced garbage sorting policies, contributing to over 30% of garbage reduction in the countryside.
Reduction is not existing.
Hu Bing with the Bureau of Ecology and Environment in Huzhou City, Zhejiang Province, says there are also
sorting the garbage has caused a reduction in the creation of garbage. No, it hasn't. That doesn't add up, bro.
At the beginning, villagers were not willing to install sewage treatment facilities. That was because in their minds, there was no need to process sewage water and garbage. After we carried out several pilot green programs in some villages, those who were originally reluctant to install sewage treatment facilities have changed their minds.
To raise villagers' awareness of improving the environment, some villages have encouraged villagers to take turns in cleaning up their villages, such as sweeping the roads. The improved environment has given a boost to local tourism. Liu Shuhong is a village official in Lhasa, Tibet.
The village is undergoing a transformation towards a recreational tourist site and has become not only more beautiful, but it can also showcase the local culture to tourists. The village can benefit from the tourism industry.
Meanwhile, efforts have been made to strengthen financial services, including issuing targeted government bonds to improve the environment. Chinese authorities say they will also upgrade facilities in agricultural production and continue to improve working and living conditions for people living in rural areas. For the Beijing Hour,
Zimbabwe is once again moving towards using the U.S. dollar as the local currency depreciates, fueling inflation and economic hardship. Gao Junior reports.
What did you just
So do you take a look at
We're going to switch to the U.S. dollar because it's stable and the international currency.
Usually accept payments in both the U.S. dollar and the local Zimbabwe dollar. The exchange rate they apply is $1 to 100 Zimbabwean dollars, compared to the
Because
official
you
rate
say
the
so
country
here on the
stands
radio on
at
the other
1
side
to
of the
69.
fucking planet.
Charging a higher rate is common among local traders, especially
It's
in the
not a
retail
higher
sector.
rate.
The
Higher and lower
Encyclopedia
rates have
says
to do with the
continual
spread, you
depreciation
moron.
has undermined people's confidence in the country's currency.
They are not stable. They just go up and go up and go up any day, any time, any moment without
You're going to switch to a currency that you have no access to, no supply, and can't spend. That makes a lot of sense. Did the China girl tell you to do that?
You are not aware when
more
the
euros and
rate
Canadian dollars
is going to
US
take off.
dollars.
The only safe way is just to charge a little bit, so that even if the rates go up,
I know how they ended up with this hyperinflation problem.
Zimbabwe's first deficit-run currency in favor of the US dollar and other currencies during the global financial crisis over a decade ago, when hyperinflation wiped out nearly all savings of its people. But that later led to a shortage of foreign currencies, worsening economic wounds in the country. As part of a bailout plan, the country reintroduced its local currency last November.
We're using them more, so there's less of that.
$1 to 15 local
Money
dollars.
is not a thing that
But
suddenly
in less than
appears
8 months,
like in
the
your account
Zimbabwean
balance
dollar has shrunk
and then
over
disappears and is recreated.
400%,
Some of that's not
while
how
the
it works. It
inflation
basically
rate has
changes
soared
hands,
to
right?
over 780%. Economic analyst Joe Chifamba suggests the future of the Zimbabwean dollar is bleak,
2005,
given the
2006.
current
It had nothing to do
difficulties.
with the world financial crisis. It happened before all that.
There's no confidence
In
among
fact,
people.
the banks
The
that
local
collapsed and
currencies will
disappeared
keep on
and ripped you
depreciating
off
because
started
there's
by
not much in terms
collapsing
of
these
exports
currencies.
to support it. Zimbabwe remains largely a net importer of goods. Foreign direct investment has also
the
remained
average age of
elusive,
somebody that
despite the
period
Zimbabwe
of time
is
was
open
about
for
15,
business
it's
months.
been 15
But
years,
he
so you
warns
know you're talking
reintroducing
to
the use
no
of the
one
US
who was
dollar
there when it
may plunge the
happened.
country
You
into
lying
another
piece
dilemma.
of shit.
But if full-scale
Child
dollarization
molesting piece of
happens,
garbage.
there's definitely going to be a shortage again, as was the case which led to the introduction of bond notes in 2016 to plug the US dollar cash shortage. Some briefcase business people will also come into the country and easily move out the available foreign currency, as has also happened in the past.
Last December, President Emerson
sentence in
Mnangagwa
English.
vowed not to revert to using the US dollar, but it now looks like history is
Then I,
repeating
not
itself.
then me.
And the coronavirus pandemic seems to be making it even harder for the Southern African country to find an effective solution to its
Southern
decades-long
African
economic
country.
problems.
They're southern.
For the Beijing Hour, I'm Gao Junya,
Just say
reporting from
Africa.
Harare,
If you're
Zimbabwe.
trying to please
Russia
white
says
people,
it
say
has no plan to
sub-Saharan.
rejoin the group of 7,
But it ain't
given its
Southern.
satisfaction with the group of 20. Moscow suggests the G7 lacks
We don't put
global
on their church clothes
significance
on
because
Sunday
it
and all that, do
excludes
they?
countries
It's
like
not
China.
Southern.
Russia was part of the
Southern.
group of 8, along with Britain,
South?
Canada, France,
Did you mean
Germany,
South?
Italy,
'Cause you
Japan,
said
and the
South.
United States. But its membership was terminated over the annexation of Crimea in 2014. U.S. President Donald Trump earlier proposed an expansion of the G7 to include Russia, India, Australia, and South Korea. We're at 28 minutes past the hour. Checking the forecast ahead of the break, and Beijing will see thunder showers today. The high is 32 degrees Celsius. Moderate rainfall expected tonight with a low of 22. Chongqing will be sunny and 36, a low of 26. Laos is getting some rain in 25, a low of 12. Hong Kong will see thunder showers on the day. The high is 33, the low 28. Over to North America, Washington, D.C. will see moderate rainfall and 33 degrees Celsius. New York City is getting some rain and 40. In Africa, Nairobi's overcast and 22. And finally, to Oceania, Port Vila is getting moderate rainfall and 27 degrees Celsius. It's time for a short break so far this hour. The Chinese president is set to deliver a speech to open the 5th annual meeting of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. U.S. President Donald Trump's national security advisor has tested positive for the novel coronavirus. And the head of the WHO says the global pandemic situation continues to get worse. Shane Begum with you. Stay with us here on the Beijing Hour.
You're talking nothing but nonsense today, Shane. You gonna tell us about the shootings? No, you're not gonna tell us about
Join
the
the
shootings.
most popular Chinese language learning page on Facebook by searching for CRI Learn Chinese. It's a quick yet fun way to achieve your language goals. Start your free lessons now with unlimited videos, photos, and text tutorials on expressions and Chinese culture. CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page. The world open to us. See you now.
Stupid child.
Beijing Hour brings you an hour of comprehensive news and information from both China and the rest of the world. A mix of news, sports, and entertainment. In-depth analysis of the day's big stories, as well as the most comprehensive business of the day. Beijing Hour, your very own window to China and the rest of the world. Want to know what's trending in China? China Plus News Facebook page helps you to discover the real China, from the latest news to quirky Chinese inventions, videos, photos, live streaming, and more. Join in the conversation today by searching for China Plus News on Facebook and discover its news, its people, its traditions, and culture. China Plus News Facebook page. Open your eyes to the real China.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host,
Shane Bigham with you on this Tuesday morning. Still to come. In business, the select tier of China's new third board has begun trading. In sports, season opening action from the Chinese Super League. In culture and entertainment, Christopher Nolan's Tenet finally gets some release dates. There are a number of ways to contact us. You can talk to us on Twitter at China Plus News, or log on to Facebook.
Some white guy's name again.
More news,
twice.
videos,
Don't tell
and
me who it
analysis.
is.
Now today's headlines. The Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank will hold its 5th annual meeting later today via video link. Chinese President Xi Jinping will deliver a speech at the opening ceremony. The bank was established in December 2015 and began operations less than a month later. The number of its approved members worldwide has surpassed 100. China says the closure of the U.S. consulate in Chengdu is a justified and necessary response. The closure was ordered after Washington demanded the shutdown of the Chinese consulate in Houston, Texas last week. Chinese authorities took over the U.S. consulate yesterday. Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin calls on the U.S. side to contribute to the development of bilateral ties.
中美之间出现目前的局面，是我们不愿意看到。
The current relationship between China and the US is something we do not wish to see. The US side bears the entire responsibility. Once again, we urge the US side to immediately correct its mistakes and create necessary conditions for the bilateral relations.
All you white people don't know the biggest person is the one that sets the rules. China says, yeah, we agree. You stop doing this, Canada. You stop doing this, United States.
China now maintains consulates in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, in addition to the embassy in Washington.
Chinese are minorities.
Other consulates in China and the
fucking retarded. There's the one biggest group on the planet.
U.S. President Donald Trump's national security advisor tested positive for the novel coronavirus. A White House statement says there was no risk of exposure to Trump or Vice President Mike Pence.
Your numbers are wrong. It's actually this and that. Yeah, I get counted as 3 white guys. I know. I get told over and over. I'm told over and over I'm white, even though I got a status card of sickle cell. Trust me, I know how you count.
For the coronavirus. Media reports say the Iranian government spokesperson has been hospitalized with COVID-19. He's the latest among several officials to have been infected with the coronavirus in the country. Iran's reported over 290,000 COVID-19 cases and nearly 16,000 deaths, the highest figures in the Middle East. A vice president, a member of the Expediency Council, and several parliamentarians are among the officials who've been infected with the coronavirus. Vietnam is evacuating 80,000 people, mostly local tourists from the city of Da Nang, following that new COVID-19 outbreak. 14 local cases have been reported in the tourist hotspot over the past few days. None of them had international travel history. The evacuations are expected to take at least 4 days, with domestic airlines operating about 100 flights daily from Da Nang to other cities. Russia says it has no plan to rejoin the Group of 7, given satisfaction with the Group of 20. Moscow suggests the G7 lacks global significance because it excludes countries like China. Russia was part of the Group of 8, along with Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United States. But its membership was terminated over the annexation of Crimea in 2018.
Listen to the countries that are a part of this. You think that you're the top 8 economies in the world.
Russia, India, Australia, and South Korea.
France can't sell me meat in
The
either
Iranian
the
Deputy
United
Foreign
States. We
Ministry
both tried
minister
it,
says
so
the
is
country will
Brazil.
continue its
But it got
peaceful
marked
nuclear
down
program
as sold
in
here
compliance with the
because the price
International
you say
Atomic
is
Energy
$3 and
Organization
times
regulations.
as many as this many
Boss Archie
dollars.
says that Iran's
All
removed
Arabic
all
is to write
ambiguities
it
and
off as a
misinformation
loss,
regarding its
negative
nuclear
dividend this
program.
year.
He adds that the country is
You
ready
do
to
still get to write
return
it
to
up
all
as
of its
having been
commitments
shipped
under
here,
the
right?
2015 Iranian nuclear deal whenever its interests are served. Iran's been steadily dropping commitments under the agreement following the U.S. withdrawal from that deal in 2018 and announced the final step to abandon commitments in January.
How does Iran owe you an answers to what
The
they're doing
NASA
in their basement?
administrators outlined goals for the next
White people
Mars
always say it,
rover
oh, it's
mission.
behind closed
Jim
doors.
Bridenstine made the
Me
remarks
raping my
days ahead
kids,
of
my
the launch
business.
of the Perseverance
You do
rover
say
that was
that
scheduled
all
for
the
Thursday.
time. To
He
me,
said the
you do.
mission is designed to search for evidence
I
of
haven't met a
ancient
white person yet that
microbial
wasn't a
life
rapist.
on Mars, and the
Not
rover will
one in
gather
my entire
rock and
life.
soil samples
Oh,
for
my mother
return to Earth.
thought she was
We're to
white,
cast
and she
samples on the
molested
surface
me.
of another world
Would you like to go
for
on
a
with this one,
future
Mr.
mission
Officer?
in 2026
Yeah, and
to
she
bring
stole
those samples back to
$20,000,
Earth.
and this
That will
country
be the
says they
first
can't
time
help
in
me get my
history
money.
that we've done a Mars
But I
return
am a
mission.
ward of the
In
state.
fact, it's the first time in
Only in
history
the
we've
effect
done a
that the state
return
can
mission
steal
from
my
any
money. That's
planet.
funny.
The rover will also characterize Mars's climate and
Your
geology
taxes pay
and
my
pave the
check.
way
That
for
makes a lot
human
of sense if you don't pay
exploration of the red
taxes,
planet.
officer.
Perseverance will be the
You
ninth
get
NASA
150 grand a
spacecraft
year
visiting
from
Mars'
property
surface,
taxes. You don't pay
and the
anything.
first it
No, you
includes
don't.
gathering
You don't
samples
own a
from the red
house.
planet. The mission is also the third one
I know
to
you better
Mars
than you
this
think you
summer,
do.
following the previous two conducted by the United Arab Emirates and China. This is Shane Bigham live from the Chinese capital. Coming up in business, U.S. markets rally as major tech players report solid gains.
You're listening to the Beijing Hour. 60 minutes of comprehensive
335 or
news.
365 plus whatever we paid last. That's about $10. My entire life on your stupid stick
36
papers.
minutes past the hour now. Turning to business news, U.S. stocks advanced on Monday, bolstered by solid gains in major tech shares. The Dow Jones climbed 0.4%. The S&P 500 rose 0.7%. The Nasdaq jumped 1.7%. Shares of U.S. tech giants, including Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Netflix, all closed higher. Wall Street's bracing for a busy week with a big wave of earnings reports, including quarterly results from Apple, Amazon.
There's literally nobody that can hear this guy's voice that can invest in those individual stocks.
Coronavirus infections. European
If you've got
markets
the money and
finished
resources
mixed
to
to
buy
lower
each of those
as of
individual
most
stocks,
recent
you
closing
do not
prices.
sit and listen to
Shares
free
in France
podcasts.
fell as the CAC 40 dropped 0.3%. The FTSE 100 also lost 0.3%. The DAX in Germany closed unchanged. In Asia, stocks on the Chinese mainland closed higher Monday. Market analyst Timothy Pope.
Today, 32 IPOs hit the market and interest really did seem to explode. These are part of the NEEC Select, the National Equities Exchange and Quotations sub-market. Now, it's obviously got these 32 companies. They raised a combined 9.5 billion yuan in their offerings, more than $1.3 billion. And what was interesting and unusual about these IPOs for China, at least, is that they didn't all go up in their debuts. At lunchtime today, we saw at least 20 of these stocks trading below their IPO prices, while the other 12 were climbing. And these gains and losses were very significant, in excess of 30% in some cases. Looking at the wider markets today, it was looking a bit more tepid. The benchmark Shanghai Composite was up about 0.25%, and total turnover was less than 1 trillion yuan for the first time since July the 1st. A record high for the gold price was obviously good for gold producers. Zhongjin Gold was up almost 8% today, and Zijin Mining was up by 7%, strong gains there. Property stocks, meanwhile, were down. We saw losses for Vanka, Poly, and others, as the government once again promised to crack down on property speculation, saying that that is not the way to revive the economy from the hit that it's taken from coronavirus.
Hong Kong stocks finished lower, down by 0.4%.
Every currency in the world is
Elsewhere,
staying
Tokyo was
stable
down
with
Monday,
gold,
the
except
Nikkei
the U.S.
lost
dollar. But you keep saying it's the
0.2%.
gold.
In Singapore, stocks closed lower as well. The Straits Times Index went down by 0.1%.
Really?
The select tier of China's National Equities Exchange and Quotations, or the new third board, has begun trading. 32 companies were listed on Monday. These enterprises issued more than 800 million shares, raising over 9 billion yuan. Launched in 2013, the National Equities Exchange Quotation supplements the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock exchanges and offers smaller companies a financing channel with low costs and simple listing procedures. Starting from Monday, companies that have been listed in the select tier for a year will be qualified to get listed in the Science and Technology Innovation Board of the Shanghai Stock Exchange or the Growth Enterprise Market of the Shenzhen Stock Exchange. Experts say it offers opportunities for SMEs to raise funds. Fan Xiaoxin is the vice chairman of the China Association of Small and Medium Enterprises.
It can not only support those small and medium-sized enterprises that have the opportunity to enter the main board market, but also provide convenience for smaller micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to enter the multi-tier capital market and grow in an open market.
So far, more than 70 companies have submitted documents for public offering and getting listed on the select tier of the new third board. Official data shows that profits of China's major industrial firms totaled nearly 670 billion yuan, roughly 95 billion US dollars in June, an increase of 12% year on year. Major industrial companies are those with an annual business turnover of at least 20 million yuan. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the growth widened by 5.5 percentage points from that of May. In the first half of the year, profits of major industrial firms declined by nearly 13% to 2.5 trillion yuan. With more on this, we're joined by financial analyst Einer Tangen. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the NBS data shows that industrial sectors have clawed back some losses now. What are the major factors that contributed to the expansion of profits last month?
Well, quite frankly, it was a lot of it is based on this stimulus, return to demand, and obviously because they've been able to handle COVID-19 so far. So without this kind of second wave that you're seeing, no, I shouldn't say second wave, second part of the first wave that you're seeing in international markets, China has been able to reopen its economy, although some places more cautiously than others, and that has been the main factor. So just a return to somewhat normal.
The NBS data shows that
ignoring the fact China's the only country that did not get swept up by this fucking virus.
High-tech manufacturers saw the best performance during this period.
The first one to get in there with the first one to notice it.
Stimulus policies and new infrastructure are having an impact.
Oh, the first wave.
They are, but it's kind of a stop and go type of situation. You know, as you're just reporting earlier, there are continued attempts by the government to fine-tune things. They didn't want property to become a bigger issue. They have been pushing people towards the stock markets. This is the greatest number of new investors in stock markets in quite some number of years. Also, the amount of leverage, people borrowing money in order to buy stocks, has gone up to the same levels as 2015. This tells you that the government is trying to push this new investment-driven model, but they're trying to get more participation by the huge number of people who have savings.
Well, profits in 9 of the 41 industrial sectors surveyed rose compared to a year earlier, while 31 sectors saw their profits fall. So what possible stimulus options can we expect to jumpstart industrial sectors through the rest of the year?
Well, there's a lot of emphasis on making sure that the banks remain profitable. The big four banks are a huge component of profits. They distribute dividends, and this is very important. They're obviously going to experience some loan loss reserves due to companies going out of business, which seems to be a growing trend. Even though things are returning to normal, many companies have lost markets or they do not have the liquidity that they need. So they're trying to do things like the RRR, the internal amount that banks have to reserve in order to push out loans. But these types of things are, small compared to trying to get local governments to invest in infrastructure projects. They're using a more finance-based approach, all surrounding bonds, and hopefully this will continue. They're being careful to make sure that their rates on bonds are very attractive, especially in the international market where you basically have nothing in Europe and America. In China, it's over 3 to 4%, depending on the maturity rate. So these are the main areas pushing this kind of return to normalcy through projects. There's obviously going to be a little bit of a hold on the reform and deleveraging that was prominent before, but it's necessary given the circumstances.
Thank you very much for that. That was financial analyst Einer Tangen commenting on the performance of China's major industrial firms in June.
Really?
44 past the hour. It's estimated that China's economy will grow 2.5% this year. A report by Bloomberg says China's economy will expand 5.5% this quarter from a year earlier,
economy
6% in the final 3 months of the year. The strength of Chinese exports in the second quarter prompted economists to increase their estimate for trade in the rest of the year, and they also revised up the
what do I hate
inflation
about
forecast
it?
to
His parents told him
2.5%
to
this
stick
year,
with
up from
this. That's what I hate. He's doing
2.4%
this strictly
earlier.
because his parents told him to do it.
Yesterday marked the beginning of the 100-day countdown to the third China International
They had to drill
Import
it into
Expo.
his head to
A
do
day
it.
earlier, 35 member enterprises signed a memorandum of understanding on long-term participation in the event. Paul Washer is chief financial officer of Greater China for Fonterra, one of the world's largest dairy producers.
Through the CIA, which shows there's an open policy in terms of open trade, and we want to be part of that. We think that's a great opportunity for foreign companies, and that's given us confidence to actually not only decide on looking at this year. We've signed the next 3 years is to highlight that we have that commitment not only to CIIE, but to China as a country and to a business.
Ho Mung Kit, CEO of Singapore Business Federation, and he says the expo will bring new opportunities for various countries in international trade and investment, cultural exchanges, and cooperation.
I think CIIE is going to be even more important, not just to showcase the Chinese domestic market and the attraction of it, but also to showcase to the world that, China leads the world in opening borders, and we want to be very much part of it. And I think many other countries, want to be also part of it.
This year's event scheduled for November 5th to the 10th in Shanghai. Google will allow most of its employees to work from home through June of next year as COVID-19 cases continue to surge. A report by the San Francisco Chronicle says the company has decided to keep its workforce under a work-from-home mandate until at least 2020, July 2021. As CEO Sundar Pichai says most of the company's workers can stay home for an additional 6 months, extending a policy that was previously through the end of this year. The decision will affect up to 200,000 Alphabet employees and contract workers.
Wow, I feel so
You're listening
bad
to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, we have action from the new CSL
7
season.
fucking years straight now.
Beijing Hour.
Hello, I'm Peter Dinklage from X-Men Days of Future Past. You are listening to the Beijing Hour.
Hi, I'm Kathy Freeman. You're listening to Beijing Hour.
Hi everyone, I'm Lang Lang. Welcome to the Beijing Hour.
I'm glad you're all out of work. 7 fucking years you've been harassing me.
47 past the hour now. Turning to sports, here's
Only I would
Thank you, Shane. In the Chinese Super League, Brazilian forward Ricardo Pereira scored 2 goals in his Shanghai SCPG debut as he signed claimed a 3-1 win over Tianjin Teda in the season opener. SIPG now tops Group B in the Suzhou competition zone with goal advantage. The top 4 teams from the 2 groups advanced to the 8-team championship stage in September. Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp has been named the League Managers Association Manager of the Year after leading the Reds to their first English top-flight title in 30 years. Former Manchester United coach Sir Alex Ferguson revealed the trophy, which is named after him. Ferguson jokingly said he will forgive Klopp for ringing him at 3:30 in the morning to tell him Liverpool won the league. Leeds United boss Marcelo Bielsa won the championship award after guiding his side to the title and promotion to the Premier League. Liverpool has confirmed that midfielder Adam Lallana and defender Dion Lovren have left the club. Lallana signed a 3-year contract with the Premier League side Brighton. The 32-year-old says he will use his Liverpool experience to help young players on his new team.
Unfortunate enough to over the course of my career, and especially in the last 6 years, to go to major international championships. So there's a lot of experience that I've been fortunate enough to gather, and if I can help in a little way, especially on the younger lads, and help guide them and nurture them and improve them, then I really like to do that.
Meanwhile, Lovren has completed a $14 million move to Zenit St. Petersburg, ending a 6-year spell at Anfield. Paris Saint-Germain forward Kylian Mbappe has been ruled out for 3 weeks after he suffered an ankle injury in Friday's French Cup final win over Saint Etienne. It means Mbappe will miss PSG's Champions League quarterfinal against the Italian side Atlanta in Lisbon on August 12th. PSG hopes the striker will be back if they reach the semi-finals.
gonna do things their way.
Probably staring at me, watch I have her on my dick. Quicker than you motherfuckers ever did. I'm hella sick, I'm high up in the sky. I'm like Mount Everest, you guys are just fucked. Get back from me, subject with the accuracy. Step the fuck away, don't do average shit, ain't no mention me. Ain't no fucking with a vibe like me, man. So how you fuckers looking at me like women? Woman later, still a part of it. Fuck that shit apart.
I hope that fucking halfway girl cries, eh?
If you rest the T9, know you'll set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block. You ain't a rag, ain't best be holding your tongue. The bloody north where them soldiers is from. If you rep the T9, know you'll set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block. You ain't a rag, ain't best be holding your tongue. The bloody north where them soldiers is from.
3, 5, 7s and Mac 11s, G7, cock your weapon and stop yelling if you rep 187.
Does she not realize the only reason I go to her lineup is because when she applied for the job, her boss saw a nigger and still hired her. I don't see a black person, I just know that that's the fight she won to get that job. So it's her or 2 other white people. 3 different flavors of white people, because we're diverse.
You could be as cuckoo as you are, I'm unbalanced too. Fixing the garden, I'm coming to rally you. Massacres splatter you, run you off of your avenue while I laugh at you. Demonic, living, demented rushes. My figment of the appearance, igneous, run you up the district.
If you rep the T9, know you'll set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block. You ain't a rag, ain't best be holding your tongue. The bloody north where the soldiers is from. If you rep the T9, know you'll set me high. Big
You know
shots,
what we do
nigga,
to
rep
white
your
girls,
block.
eh? It ain't sexual. Straight torture.
Star City with me black shots. Then in the last block,
Go look up the seed pics, it's all public records.
Feeling cash crops, money growing trees, just turning coke, leaf to crack rock. Run the block, get a key, keep it padlocked. Innocent animals, watch your dog, jealous trash talk. We pack gloves, you smoke weed with hair like Sasquatch. Fuck my niggas, dog, your son, they think you out of a sandbox. Better yet, I crash your planes, spit on the black box. Because he's highly trained on cocaine, higher than that plug, that hard. You with more clips, is for instance, the same equivalent as a bed nail in the insects. Ridiculous. Most cats is sweet like licorice. I eat they food fast, smoke niggas similar to cigarettes. You dig me yet? Better catch me, burn the ass. I belong to burning fast, believe you colder than the incubator. You rep the T9, know you'll set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block. You ain't a rag, best be holding your tongue. The bloody north where the soldiers is from. If you rep the T9, know you'll set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block. You ain't a rag, best be holding your tongue. The bloody north where the soldiers is from.
I'm from the city where they keep it gully. Greedy niggas robbing out of city niggas, homie. Taking trees, screaming by the OGs. All we do is OGs, no please. You small time like the little leagues. Pussy niggas bleed when they fuck with me. Turn like a track star when they fuck with me. I ain't buck shot, but I buck shots, homie. I pack the hollows for the cops only. It's all real in the hood, they call me abs and still. Beside my abs, they're still. I make you feel still in your abs for real. Cook coke like a gourmet chef, perfection. See my dope flow stack up, erection. Not to mention me getting love for hoes. Attention, we don't love them hoes. Ladies spark the draw, double crack the most. Niggas don't want war cause they lack the toast.
Yeah, you rep the T9, know you'll set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your
Every
block.
fucking day, to the point where the first 2 hours, every fucking day, I have to say is about white people, what they did to me today. That's insane. And you people think I'm the one with the problem. You fixate on me to the point where you're convinced, you will convince me I'm white one day. Like one day, if you just keep it up. Or you'll hit me with a car and it'll serve that nigger right. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Yo, Jeezy, you all that they ain't gonna see you over there.
Look, been out on the grind for the minute, trying to get it on. I've been getting it. These niggas have been sweating it. Don't get out the bed for when I phone a nigga begging it. I'm way ahead of it. I'll ride upon a nigga letting it off. When it comes to this rap shit, fuck this. So is Jeezy low. Man, a greasy folk. I'm out for them notes, but I still keep it close. Case a man try provoke. That's fine.
These Chinese that go to British schools are so sheltered from the whole world. They don't understand how the government doesn't just set the price of something or the exchange rate of something. The woman talking about the US dollar being fixed to the Zimbabwe pound or whatever can't understand why the government just doesn't set it at that rate. Doesn't your government have like 10 times as much foreign currency as domestic currency, the same as theirs? It's fucking hilarious. Remember, just because China, the country, gonna run everything, don't mean 99% of those people understand a goddamn thing that's happening. They can't even talk to their own countrymen. They speak a dozen different languages.
Shots through his planet, listen. If you know, then you know.
Person to person level. Again,
slashing knives in me clothes. If it's not your beat, don't get involved. Don't ride out.
99% of them have no idea what a yuan is any more than you know what a dollar is.
I rolled out with him and told police away prison. Metal made by Canada. Slopes to the loops. I said that's for that dude. The next day when it clipped him, I'm back on it. Niggas got the shotty. Said I don't want it. I've got no way to put it. Plus it's out of bullets and I hate them shotguns. Cause when it's beef, I've never got nowhere to stuff it. I'm riding out with hand things with bullets that expand. If I hit man by the
you know you're talking like us here in Toronto? Well, Chief Mark says that's not possible.
If you want that brown tan, listen.
I'm
trying to stay low off the radar from cold because I know they want me so. They're still trying to find me from crimes that I did years ago. But I don't even give a fuck. I got fined once. They hit me with some threats. Talk about they'll take the shit if I didn't pay the debt.
Fucking got anywhere working in the sugar cane field, man? Seriously? He obviously ain't what he says he is. It's basically impossible to do what he claims to do.
You know what it is?
Show these niggas how this rap on my side. Yo. I'm like, bang, bang, shots fly like round in the park again. So flew like an angel with the darkest sins. You can't fly with the carpet wings. So I had to watch him sing like agnostic shit. It's like I built this on my own, no partnership.
Bad spirits are going to hell because you're Catholic all of a sudden. Because you're half fucking white, bro. Chill out. It's your mom's bad dreams. That's all that is. It's not a guilty conscience. It literally can be passed down genetically. They know it because they're the ones telling us. Look at the damage we did to you. No, I'm not damaged. Look at all these things and those things. Yeah, that's true, but you didn't damage them. You can't credit it.
This is real life shit, can't change it for an instant. Blood, sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it, trying to step in our way, man. Your ass will get popped.
You know, every black person in the world, half the generation selling drugs just will go to hell forever in purgatory. Forsaken by your creator because it don't even make sense.
Come on, bro.
Tonight, what? I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight.
Well, I don't understand. I'm the devil in disguise. I stole your soul tonight. I don't understand.
Stole your soul tonight.
As you wake up in the dark and not realizing I'm there, go ahead and reach for the light. You won't find one there. This is the darkness inside mixed with the pain that you feel.
None of
You're
that
the voice
bad
calling out
fucking
another soul to conceal.
shit
You
in my
see the
head.
tears in the eyes, that's what's causing the
From
pain.
both sides.
Staring
Oh,
at
she
yourself
tried to put
blind,
it on.
can't
She's a
remember the name.
sociopath.
Call me whatever you
You
like,
don't feel
but
guilt for
let it be
nothing.
told.
Try to
I'm
make
the
pass
devil in
guilt onto
disguise
me
and the
from
possessor of
random
souls.
people in society.
The possessor of
You're not even
souls, the
joking.
devil in disguise, yeah. Possessor of souls.
Like I just said, you don't feel bad for stealing, robbing, killing, and molesting. You want me to feel bad for what?
The possessor
Go
of
drink
souls,
some more
I be the
fucking
devil
booze.
in disguise, the possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, devil in disguise. The possessor of souls.
Feel the pain in your chest, yeah, that's me coming back, being possessed by the
Acting about
devil.
her
It's the
sickle
light
cell
that I
gene.
have, a possessor of souls, another light in the dark. Hear the footsteps in the
You
night,
didn't know
now
she
your
was
ass is in
black.
shock. Go ahead and hide, try to make no sound. I know your every thought and action, so you're bound to be found. I'm getting closer. Can you feel my presence here? Cause I'm the devil in disguise, the only person you fear.
The only person you fear. I be the devil in disguise. The only person you fear. The only person you fear. I be the devil in disguise. The only person you fear. The only person you fear. I be the devil in disguise. The only person you fear. What? Yeah, the only person you fear. Devil in disguise. The only person you fear. I'm in control of your life. I'm the voice in your pain. I'm the hate in your heart and the sin in your brain. I'm the death of your dreams and the loss of your
What's
life.
YouTube's involvement? When I mentioned there was a shootout on my fucking mom's block the night before, they delete the video. 2 days later, I say, same thing again, they delete the video. Oh, you're not allowed to tell people we're shooting up your mom's block, eh? Is that the story? What's the deal? What did the police tell you to fucking... Well, I'm wondering.
I will clean the spirit out of your ass. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. It is he who commands you. He who gives you strength from heaven. Fucking be gone. Fucking carrot. I must reach your God. And the Holy Spirit.
These people gave me B19 on purpose, knowing that I had sickle cell and that I didn't know I had it, knowing it would make the symptoms more apparent, believing in their own head I would be too stupid to figure out what I had from the symptoms, but that I would walk around suffering from sickle cell forever. That's how stupid these people are. Sorry, I left out a step. They want me to shut up and stop talking about sickle cell because they did that and they did where I'm supposed to be stupid and not know what's wrong with me. Why they're angry? This whole South African clique up here.
Hey, yo. I hold a murderous mind, it's dark and twisted and blind, demented defined, as the grim leaper around, the dark night and master.
Alright, they're all wearing South African t-shirts, turning Dutch flags upside down, trying to spit in my food and take away the shit. I'm supposed to do something to you. We don't know what you are. We don't know what you are. You just had the same argument yesterday. You said you don't know what I am. Oh, I'm schizophrenic for thinking spit can spread disease, eh? How many of you ran around trying to spread that? Even droplets can spread viruses. You're schizophrenic. I know what you say because people tell me because you're drug addicts. You buy them off somebody. Didn't I say homeboy would switch from weed back to crack in no time once they were done with? So they cut off the camera when I'm out. You cut off the camera, homeboy. Oh, repeat it again. Piece of shit. I said, let's switch back from weed to crack. You fucking with the fucking gondola, homeboy.
I'm just killing this couch when I'm spitting these raps and I'll be done with these raps. You think they're better than that. When I'm fighting this case, I'll be
right, the little bit of assistance you give them now goes in our pocket.
I look at you like you're not the only one who's on top. You really need to just
you trying to come do your thing, man.
We're all just like you, don't really want to be rude, but you're just killing the mood and you're not gonna get through. We keep them schizo kids, you know who this is. Zoom cat, silly D, and it's ever this. Niggas a lunatic, spirits a psycho shit. Understood shit, chillin' when we spit. Go ahead and run your mouth, go ahead and talk your shit. Make the shit straight season, gon' get your ass hit. Niggas a lunatic, spirits a psycho shit. Just you know who this is, we be them schizo kids. Yo, I'll snap your shit and have to watch it bleed in the rooms. Hearing my dementia rap fast and killing your gun. Sick in the head, I'm the grim reaper, but cheaper. I punch you in the eye through the motherfucking speaker. The voices in my head erupt and explode. Stuck here spitting another schizophrenic episode. Looking for the rustiest blade that I can find.
The rapper number 8 throwing out the schizophrenic word.
Kick you in the jaw.
You're all schizophrenic.
Bones in your face.
So what?
While you're on the floor, you both struggling to breathe. Watch me cut off your airways, drown your girl's knee, and drag you by your desecrated face into the kitchen, and fucking beat you with the pan so you start twitching. By the sounds of the shit, I should be in the mob. I'm a lunatic for murdering MCs is my job. I give them shit so kids that you know who this is. Slim Cat, Silly D, and the terror lives. That's a lunatic, spiritual psycho shit. This understood shit, still when we spit. Go ahead and run your mouth, go ahead and talk your shit. Make the shit straight season, gon' get your ass hit. Niggas a lunatic, spiritual psycho kids. Guess you know who this is. We be them schizo kids.
It's not gonna rain. No clouds. I'm trying to base this on a new theory that just random humidity will form rain. Random humidity with no dust or particular matter is going to form rain. You can see on your displays if there's no clouds. It's been raining for 3 days straight according to these people.
Feel like strangers, dug in my blood from the very first day. Certified VA official, won't play. Go the other way, don't come around here. Bitch sleeping on me, leave holes in your head. Big stacks to get dead when I'm out on the bus. If you fall, I suggest you get back, get nuts. You're getting money over here. I don't know what you got, cause the one I got it too big to fit in our socks. On my hustle hard, waiting before I came off the bus. I'm in the spot all day, even when it gets tough. Only when you see cold, everything stops. So what the
Y'all just half-assed like wops. Stop when you see police? Really? What do the cops think they can push you around? That's why they shoot at you. You're being good little dogs. Every time they look at you, you stop, man.
Just let me think. Just let me think. Just let me think. When the storm brews, I'm striking fast. I'm in sadness, ain't my past. Can't get too close, might get trashed. When soul is dark, I wanna fight its ass. I wanna hot beat, I might just pass. Rhyme with class and music makes me smash. It's got me tripping, feeling non-existent, and it's making me. When the storm brews, I'm striking fast. I'm in sadness, ain't my past. Can't get too close, might get trashed. When soul is dark, I wanna fight its ass. When the storm brews, I'm striking fast. I'm in sadness, ain't my past. Can't get too close, might get trashed. When the storm brews, I'm striking fast. I'm in sadness, ain't my past. Can't get too close, might get trashed. When soul is dark, I wanna fight its ass. I wanna hot beat, I might just pass. Rhyme with class on these mics are smashing. And it's got me tripping, feeling non-existent. And it's making me into a psychopath. Cold blood, I gotta roll something. Calm down like a bomb now. Think you smart, let me show you something. Throw it all down. Going on now. Yeah, for me to fucking see you later. You a fish swimming, I'm an alligator. And I'm hungry too for the lunch and food, so I'ma take you out. I'm the Terminator, so it's no love, no fun. Forget the pain when I roll up. So low and so good. So low, so low. I'm so hard, so bold. I'm so pro-ton. I'm a road dog and she knows that. She's slow dancing with no clothes on to them slow songs.
All of you homos are always talking to each other, looking at each other's eyes, talk about some girl. Right.
Yo, I'm Scott High with a razor and Kevin Nash with a diesel, like all the lyrics cerebral. Headed to the ring, see my nigga walking like D-Lo. 3-5-4 like a giant bigger than Big Show. All I really know is how to stunt. The who the tree truck the end of the month. Now I'm passion. Free time more the end of the blunt. They say they MCs. Most of them just rhyme off one syllable. Listen to the beats and you wonder how it ain't killable. I'm so down to earth, we were living in minerals. When there's a maximum sentence, niggas ain't getting minimum. Criminal records getting numbers, we couldn't visit them. Trying to have faith, but more was looking like Little Kim. In that mind situation, they can play in no middleman. Take it to the source, like Casino and Eminem. Trick ain't no niggas but paying them, so they defending them. I hate these dick riders, Oscar switch siders. Try to keep this fire contained like pit gliders. My nigga in and out of Miami, that's Swiss Priors. What the fuck's why I've been rapping for Rough Riders? I need my credit now, 50 bands for the fire. I watched my lawyer in court, said you're hired. I heard the Gully Demon Tape was inspired. What up, Lux? You want the airless like Giallo? Through the city where the dark clouds follow. Checks the Vegas, my girl stretching naked. This world crazy to survive, you need mental patience. Some never make it. Cause weather changes, control climates when the cold flow demonstrated. Ride no waves, choose to stay true. Salute the DJ when my music's played. Shallow graves, we cruise delayed. Watch dudes get paid. Smoke a blunt when my suit gets made. Top dollar when you pay the best. I be sinning more, praying less. Blindfolded while I'm playing chess, place your bets. Prepare when I take this. I'm the reason you get laid to rest. You are cooked so much that I can feed the masses.
Yeah, no, you're slowly rocking out each individual control one at a time as I go to use it. It's funny, but it's dumb. Yeah, because you weren't watching that one while you were covering that.
With the diesel, like all the lyrics headed to the reef, see my nigga walking like D-Lo.
Why do I keep doing that?
Like a giant bigger than
your dumbass fucking operative keeps fucking pinging my router when he's not supposed to.
Now I'm passion. Free time more the end of the blunt. They say they
want to hear the rest of the line?
my fourth syllable.
But slashy tires, shoot at your crotch, name higher.
So down to earth, we were living in minerals. When there's a maximum sentence, niggas ain't getting minimum. Criminal records getting numbers, we couldn't visit them. Trying to have faith, but more was looking like Little Kim. In that mind situation, they can play in no middleman. Take it to the source, like Casino and Eminem. Trick ain't no niggas prepared them, so they defending them. I hate these dick riders, us are switch siders. Trying to keep this fire contained like big gliders. My nigga in and out of Miami, that's Swiss Priors. What the fuck's why I've been rapping for rough riders? I need my credit now, 50 bands for the fire. I watched my lawyer in court, said you're hired. I heard the Gully Demon Tape was inspired. What up, Lux? You want the airless like Giallo? Through the city where the dark clouds follow. Jets to Vegas, my girl stretching naked. This world crazy to survive, you need mental patience. Some never make it. Cause weather changes, control climates when the cold flow demonstrated. Ride no waves, choose to stay. Salute the DJ when my music's played. Shallow graves, we cruise get laid. Watch dudes get paid. Smoke a blunt when my suit gets made. Top dollar when you pay the best. I've been sending more, paying less.
Wow, you're editing them to show my eyes being closed. It's hilarious, bro. Keep doing that. Keep doing it. It takes you long. Just the 8-second time delay plus how long it takes you to edit. Yeah, because my eyes are shaped like this or something, right? Or like this, right? Not according to my medical files, but according to you and the pictures you keep showing me. Yeah, 8 out of 8 fucking pictures in a row. Me with my eyes closed in positions I can't be in. Because they aren't angled that way. They're angled the other way, stupid. Because I'm not Asian. Which is funny. You keep showing with the stereotypical Asian slanted eyes. But the eye doctor... Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. Well, the eye doctor will tell you my eyes are slanted this way. Wow, you fucking hate this, eh?
I'm riding around the city with a stick of sticky icky, no complaint.
Yeah, for 6 minutes straight, I've been trying to put on the radio station. I skipped that track back when the white boy started his line. 3 minutes straight for his line. So anyway, you keep showing me with my eyes slanted this way or with this weird smiley thing. Oh, my eyes are slanted this way. And you can check with the eye doctor. Billing records. Billing records from the Ministry of the Community. Everything is wrong in the U.S. Niggas getting minimum. Criminal records getting numbers we couldn't visit them. Trying to have faith, but more was looking like Little Kim. In the mind situation, how's your method sister? Take it to the source. How's your method sister? Trick ain't no niggas prepared them, so they defending them. I hate these dick riders. Sorry, but last time I missed her. Trying to keep this fire contained like big gliders. My nigga in and out of Miami, that's Swiss Priors. I waited 7 minutes. It's too commercial. For rough riders. I need my credit now. 50 bands for the fire.
I watched my lawyer in court, said you're hired.
Did you see that? It's 9 out of 9.
What up, love? She won the illness like Giallo.
And again, with it freezes and shows me my eyes as these smiley faces.
My girl stretching naked. This world crazy to survive, you need mental patience. Some never make it. Cause weather changes, control climates when the cold flow demonstrated. Ride no waves, choose to stay true. Salute the DJ when my music's played.
Hey, there's multiple levels of idiots.
Watch dudes get paid. Smoke a blunt when my suit gets made. Top dollar when you pay the best. I've been sinning more, praying less. Blindfolded when I'm playing chess, placing bets. Prepared when I take the test. I'm the reason you get laid to rest.
That's 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 with the weird smiley face eyes. Well, they weren't all smiley face. It's not possible to freeze up every single time. Freeze up. There will be one out of like 400 frames. I didn't close my eyes that time. That's what I'm talking about.
Somebody, now you have an
10 and
empty
11 don't count.
You keep the family in there.
Closed.
They're going to.
I was looking at the screen,
there could be a system
watch
set up
my head do this turkey thing, and then do the scallop smiley face eyes. I can't show it to you fast enough. No, I'm not making it up because they've all seen my devices do this shit.
1 in 4
They tell me
families
about
in America
CCs.
right now
I know.
spends about 70% of their income on their rent, which is more than twice what anybody should be spending. Magic number is like 28% or 30%. That's a weird little financial figure, but when you're spending 70%, there is no savings.
9.5 fucking minutes.
You don't have the luxury of family or relatives to fall back on.
How come the
You
screen
do
never
have
just
government
freezes
benefits to fall
instantly
back
in
on, but
place?
they
It
are
shows me
limited.
my eyes like it has
And
to
it's only becoming
freeze,
more well
and
known
then I do
because
some
of
weird jerky shit, and then
everybody
I'm
sort of
looking at an
receiving
animated version
this
of my
COVID
eyes.
benefit right now.
It's not my
It's not a
skin
lot.
tone either.
It's something.
You keep
You know,
put big skin
$1,200
tone
check
in a shadow
doesn't
of
stretch very
someone who's
far,
an
but it's
albino
something. And
whose
when
pigment
you've got
varies from gray
something
to
like
brown,
50
there's
million
no
people
fucking
filing for unemployment right now,
red or pink
it's
anywhere.
it's a calamity, and something's got to
Norse
change.
don't have
The
red skin,
landlords,
they have
yeah,
red hair.
I mean, this is a business where typically
I'm
they
not
flourish,
Scottish, I just
and
keep saying that.
you know, right now, I guess if I'm a landlord,
I'm
I'm
not sure where
I'm
they started,
looking
but I know it's
at my
not true,
conscience a little
because
more than my wallet,
I know my family.
and I think you have to. Easy for me to say, but I think you have to. People
I just keep
suffer
saying that
all
to
over
point
the
out
world,
stupidness of your
and
rules.
this
They're
isn't a
fucking
thing where
Scottish.
you know we're talking
told you
about,
that in
well, people are
96,
lazy. They
you've
need to
been
pull
tripping
themselves up by
since
the
then.
bootstraps. This ain't
It's
the
not
year to
true, it's
argue that
Norse
point.
blood.
Everybody is in this together right now, and
Blood red hairs. Ain't
you
got
know,
no
because
red
we don't
pigment
have
anywhere on me.
socialized health care, because we don't have a safety net for everybody without Congress having to pass it every few months painstakingly. This is the situation we do find ourselves in America.
And also, I'd just like to know a little bit more about this so-called eviction process. Like, how does it work? Is it as brutal as we envision in our minds, that it's you can't make rent, you talk to your landlord, and let's say there's no agreement, and then you're thrown out of the house into the streets, and what comes after that?
Short of it.
Stick, get out.
You can work
Out
something
to
out
the
with your
gutter.
landlord. See,
Gutter.
contracts, you know, it's funny. Contracts seem to go both ways. When it's on the tenant to hold up their end of the agreement, they have to do it. Same
This
in
moron here
job
won't
scenarios.
explain what the 12-month
when it's on
term
the
is in
boss
a
or the
lease.
landlord, suddenly they can tear it up. Well, if you sign a 12-month lease, and you do
Just
pay
like your
month to month
insurance, tell us.
traditionally in the United States, but you sign a 12-month. Like, I'm going to pay 12 months rent, but you know it's due on the first of each month. Okay, let's say,
According
well, I
to
did
the
January to
local law of the
February,
city you're
March
in.
comes, hey,
Nothing to do with
landlord, I
contract
got
law.
fired. I don't have any income. They're going to say,
what?
Hey, as per your contract, you have another 30 days to pay.
No, that's
and
not
by
what it
then,
says.
you also
It
owe
says
that
they
month.
can't increase
So you're
the
already
price
falling
for
behind.
that
If
term.
you can find a
It's funny
landlord
'cause
who
it's the
can
law
fill
says
out an
anyway. So
addendum
what does your
and help
12-month
you
term
out,
mean?
great
You
for
gotta
you.
put a penalty
And I'm not
in
trying to paint all landlords as the same,
Right,
but
you
yeah,
gotta put
you're
a
right. They're
penalty
running
in
a
your
business.
contract. Your contract don't
And
mean
without
shit.
that,
How come this
your
guy doesn't know
possessions
that?
and yourself will
How come
find
the
themselves
insurance experts
outside
on the
that
radio
unit
can't explain
if something has not
insurance?
worked out. Usually, there's something,
You're
maybe
insuring
it's 30 or
yourself
60
against
days
yourself doing something
required by
stupid,
law. You
erecting
can't just
your
knock
own
on the
shit
door
and
and
getting
then
sued by
toss them out.
third
And this
party
happens
for
all
it.
over the country.
And also,
There's
this
no
is something
collecting
that I
from another
would
company or
imagine
get it back
happens,
off the other guy.
or can
None of that
happen
shit.
around the world, because there are times when
things don't go according to plan, and you can't basically, you know, get the funds together to pay for rent for next month. And what would the standard procedure be like here in China? Let's say, yeah, I'm not making next month's rent. That's just not something I can pay now. I think it varies from whether your landlord is a nice person or not, or even the tenant is a decent tenant or not. It's just still based on each individual stories. And but I remember back in February and March when the coronavirus was really bad in China and it was widely spread all over the country. I remember at that time, especially in Hubei province, and the government carry out some regulations, say people they can apply and to delay or postpone the payoff of the credit card and also the mortgage if they don't have any job at the moment, or because at that time Wuhan was under fully lockdown, so they couldn't do any work at a time, so they can apply, and it's possible for them and to just delay the process of pay back their credit card or mortgage. And also, I think after that, and the government also trying to give some preferential policies for the areas has been hit really hard, and they say you should offer some rent deduction and or just enable your tenant to extend their contract. For example, give them like a 1 or 2 month breeze, and they can find a new places to live in. And but at the same time, I think this is a regulation. I don't know how well it has been executed and in the practical level, but at the same time, it still depends on the relationship between the tenant and the landlord. Because at that time, the landlords, they are also in a very hard situation. Some of them, they're really nice. They are very considerate, and they think this is part of a social responsibility. They need to give some space for people who are in their hardest time. So they think, oh, I can give you 1 or 2 months free renting, or I can deduct maybe 40% or 50% of the rent. But also at the same time, some really, you know, not bloody, but like some really practical landlords, they even raise the rents because they have lost a lot of money during the coronavirus. So it still depends. But in the common practice, I would say if it's not under the coronavirus, then you wanna end the contract. You really you need to, no matter you are the tenant or you're the landlord, it's very polite of you. Like if you can notice each side maybe 2 or 3 months in advance. But if you are just under all the rules of the contract, but you just want to end the contract after a year, and then you decide whether to continue.
I can't handle you at all. If you just want to end the contract after 1 year,
I'm Lee Lacey.
You know what I mean? What do you mean end the contract? You can end it any time. How much notice do you have to give to move out in China? You don't know because nobody moves in China. They move out of their parents' farm in the country into a brand new condo building, and they say there's non-existent problems.
Handle every part of that the right way, and there's good representation for the team, but most of all the client. It all comes back to the client and customer service, right? Like our core value is customer service, so it's
core value.
The one thing that
customer service isn't a value anymore.
Not about like Kimberly said, the transaction, but how your interaction or your client's experiences with you, with me, with Kimberly, with Loretta. That's what matters the most.
Who are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're making sure that everyone's taken care of, like that the houses are taken care of, the house of the people. That,
please blow your words directly into the microphone, stupid.
Want to make sure that they're all healthy, and that
you don't understand.
The homes that they're representing are healthy as well.
There should be 3 inches of space here. She's holding it like this to breathe into it. The earpiece isn't against her ear. She wouldn't be able to make this noise. I just want to know who the dude is, because I fucking recognize him off the radio, and I can't remember who he is.
Jeans are a little
I just know he's retarded.
character. Old cowboy.
You'll be dead in a week.
I gotta get used to these high heel boots too. Feel like I'm falling down.
Number 2.
What do you mean? Better get over that feeling quick. Slightest mistake this afternoon, we'll all be falling through a hangman's trap. Hey, you think we can depend on Carson keeping his head? Yeah, can't tell what he'll do in the excitement. We'll have to watch him close. Hey, put the blanks in his gun? Not so loud, Skip. Carson's in the next room. Yes, all the guns are carrying blanks. Oh, don't trust me either, huh? Of course I trust you. I know there's nothing like the sound of a gun going off to let people know you mean business. Hey, you mean we may have to let somebody know we mean business? I don't think so.
None of them's going to notice that the bullets are not bullets. They just won't know.
Well, howdy, partner. It's 1,200 hay to kill down from the bar edge. They're mighty thirsty, and so am I. How about a water in my stock while I wet my whistle? Good boy, Wes. You're a born rancher. Think I'll do? Sure you will. Well, come in, Miss Guston.
Boy.
That's wonderful. With that blonde beard, I'd never know him in 1,000 years.
Yeah, that 10-gallon hat makes him 6 inches taller. Yeah, let's see, Wes. Let me look at you.
Yeah, they like to pretend the reason we don't like being called boys because they're talking down to us. No.
Yeah, you'll do.
You have sex with your kids, and you start calling us like we're your kids.
So much fun in my life.
I had an awful time getting him away from the mirror.
Us without asking.
You should have been an actor, Wes.
Well, how you like me, Miss Carson?
White boy with the
I
star
ain't a
across
wealthy
his nose.
cattleman like Wes, Captain Friday here. Me, I'm just a poor ranch hand that drives that big car and does all the dirty work.
I love your long sideburns. And that false nose makes you look positively beautiful.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you saw me on the street, would you know me?
Well, if I did, I don't think I'd admit it. But seriously, boys, the disguises are wonderful. Even though Mr. Jordan knows you, I don't think he'll recognize you in those outfits.
Come on, let's go to the Mario. Take one step and then again. Come on, let's go to the Mario. Just like it did.
Observations on the waters. At Washington Channel, the wind was southwest at 7 knots, and the water temperature was 87 degrees. At Tiny Point, the wind was southwest at 8 knots. It was partly cloudy. The temperature was 90 degrees, the dew point 72, and the relative humidity 55%, producing a heat index of 97. The wind was southwest at 9 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.93 inches and rising. At Burlington, it was clear. The temperature was 89 degrees, the dew point 71, and the relative humidity 55%. The wind was southwest at 6 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.94 inches and rising. Elsewhere across the state this hour, at Asheville, light rain was falling with a temperature of 76. At Charlotte, it was partly cloudy with a temperature of 88. At Greensboro, it was partly cloudy with a temperature of 85.
Oh, don't worry, sis. We'll have a picnic. Yeah, this ain't no time to get scared. Granting everything's okay and back. If everything's okay, I'll walk through the bank, and then when I go by Jordan's office, I'll take off my hat and wipe my forehead.
And when you get that signal, white people, potentially white people that hung out with black people and copied the way they talk.
Now, I don't know what Jordan will say, but I do know there's a water cooler in the teller's cage adjoining Jordan's office.
How come your cowboys
he suggests the cooler, he will probably open the door for you himself. If he...
Oh, there's no...
To the ring, see my nigga walking like D-Lo. 3-5-4 like a giant bigger than Big Show. All I really know is how to stunt. And who the tree truck the end of the month. Now I'm passion. Free time more the end of the blunt. They say they MCs. Most of them just rhyme off one syllable. Listen to the piece and you wonder how it ain't killable. I'm so down to earth, we were living in minerals. When there's a maximum sentence, niggas ain't getting minimum. Criminal records getting numbers, we couldn't visit them. Trying to have faith, but more was looking like Little Kim. In that mind situation, they can play in no middleman. Take it to the source, like Casino and Eminem. Drinking no niggas but pay them, so they defending them. I hate these dick riders. Us to switch siders. Trying to keep the fire contained like brick ladders. My nigga in and out of Miami, that's Swiss Priors. Where the fuck's why I've been rapping for Rough Riders. I need my credit now, 50 bands for the fire. I watched my lawyer in court, such a higher. I heard the Dolly Demon Tape was inspired. What up, slugs, you want the illness like Giallo. Through the city where the dark clouds follow. Jets to Vegas, my girl stretching naked. This world crazy, to survive you need mental patience. Some never make it. Cause weather changes, control planets when the cold flow demonstrated. Ride no waves, choose to stay true. Salute the DJ when my music's played. Shallow graves, we cruise get laid. Watch dudes get paid. Smoke a blunt while my suit gets made. Top dollar when you pay the best. I've been sinning more, praying less. Blindfolded while I'm playing chess, placing bets. Prepared when I take the test. I'm the reason you can lay the rest. Yo, I cook so much that I can feed the masses. Write the gospel, speak the passage. See the madness.
Every single one of you wants to get caught. Every single one. The insurance guy from the TTC, the Somali, the other Somali, the Persian, fat white girl, the fat white. You all keep getting caught. You all keep getting caught. I give you the rope, you hang yourself. Great.
I'm riding around the city with a stick of sticky icky, no complaining, speeding, rushing, blowing trouble. I'm running out of time, I got that money on my mind and I'm too hard to switch a mixer with the dope. I see these bitches slacking, man, these wannabe rappers talking shit, gee, I better take a note. On the come up, steady rising, some of y'all be steady hiding, I'm colliding, slipping, sliding to your hoe. Low key, no piano, these rappers rhyme like they Lucky Luciano, but they don't know that I'm a goddamn bad man. And when you see me, best believe I read in black, that's Batman. I turn y'all into ghosts, eat them like Pac-Man. No games for you out in trash cans, no shame. You want blow, that's Snow White, that cocaine got your nose red like strobe dice. And sit back and post, man. Chill deep and for real creep on your dame. That heat leave you with no sleep and no brain. Then you awake with no sneaks and no chain. A black sneak getting shiggity. You know Ray, a fast life living, but still dealing with some slow days. What can I say? That's just what it is, dog. But I gotta get that money for my next of kin, dog. Ride around the city with a stick of sticky icky. No complaining, speeding, rushing, blowing trouble. I'm running out of time, I got that money on my mind and I'm too hard to switch a mixer with the dope. I see these bitches slacking, man, these wannabe rappers talking shit, gee, I better take a note. On the come up, steady rising, some of y'all be steady hiding, I'm colliding, slipping, sliding to your hoe.
Podium, hip, dang, son, I gotta reload it like a gun. Taunt them just for fun. They wanna see me with my hands out begging for funds. They ain't gonna see that shit cause I really make runs. They saying that they gotta get the job done. And when my crew come, they ain't gonna say no more in the slum. They gonna be deceased from head to toe. They ain't gonna breathe no more. Ain't gonna see no tree. Ain't no more paradise down here. It's only hell or up. You won't get a chance no more down here. I ain't showing no fear. I gotta ride for my other side. And they gotta ride for me. Cause they gotta say that they'll die for me. They gotta shine for me. If I shine on my own, then fuck, they won't lie for me. They won't lie for me. They won't die for me.
They're moving in across the hall.
Ain't gonna shine with me. They ain't shining with me because I put them out of the past. I told all the haters cut them off and all to kiss my ass. Haters don't love it, I ball just like Nash. Saying that they want the ball, throwing bins in the trash. I'ma hit it up like fuck it, haters.
You still here? Hey, you're leaving the goddamn country, bro.
With the calculator, saying that they wanna brave something just like braver. I'ma be braver than you, probably be the first heartbreaker. I never broken hearts before, but I just might take you. Shit, boy, I gotta remix this shit like a bitch gotta read this.
Just mysteriously drop dead. Just mysteriously drop dead. Nobody is a thing of the head.
Disrespectful whenever I lift the pencil. I'm hoping the shit offends you. I'm fisting lesbian bitches while spitting on instrumentals.
That's another thing. What's the deal with lesbian, like guy's obsession with lesbians? And you obviously ain't doing it when you're bragging about doing it to prove that you ain't doing it.
the derelict.
Think about it.
You're now rocking with the
It ain't us, it's
illest.
just
You're now rocking with the illest.
yeah, we're not pleasant people.
You're now rocking with the illest. Yeah, check it. Yeah, check it. What? Yo, welcome to my spot. You're now rocking with the illest. E-Block boy who be keeping it the realest. Stay on top cause I'm up so fresh. This be the type of new putting stress on your chest.
Yeah, shout out to him and DJ's Pod 2, but 1995, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna keep some freestyle bump, you know what I'm saying? Kicking it with my nigga MC Spade, Mr. K, Lil West, you know what I'm saying? We finna bump like this here, so
It
check
comes
it
down
out.
to who's really black and who's white. The lesbians, the dykes will say, there is no substitute. So what you got is a substitute.
Deeply rooted with a master plan. Motherfuckers try my patience, but don't know what's up. Grab the grenade, pop the pin, blow them hoes up. Making sure I'm leaving out and motherfuckers in the ditch. Let them know that MC Spade ain't to be fucked with. I be coming hard for you niggas who didn't know I could reach. For your 9 play dumb nigga, I wish you would. Cause I'm finna hit you in your chest and knock the wind out. Say something smart and I'ma have to take your ass out. With the nigga 9 on my fucking hip. Reach for my left, grab my clip, cause I can't slip. Smoking on some drink while I sip on a plane of yak. With my niggas eyes held off that back, chronic sack. Ride through the park, blowing AC.
Yeah, $2 bills and $1 coins when this is done.
Because they know a nigga riding clean. And they couldn't spank. I pop them helmets and then I stole the same. Niggas getting chased because they looking at me like they mean. But I got that throwback lock resting on the side of me. For a buster ass nigga thinking he be on the creek. Making cheese every day. Yeah, this shit gon' keep on sticking. They find another bitch. Cause I'm packing what you niggas stacking. Drop the gangsta shit. Kicking, pimping, bitch. It don't matter cause the image coming in. Making my pockets that I stop at the liquor store. Get a bill for tango break. Cut up a switch of sweet. Fill that bitch up with some hate. Clock on my hip in case a motherfucker on the trip. Run your lip. You gon' be a victim of a whisper. It's the West Smack, smoking on a fat sack with my gat that goes rat tat tat on the dope track with my nigga T. Drop after drop, sale after sale, then we bail. Headed to the mall, much clientele, then we bail till it's silent. See what bitches doing tonight, high as a kite. Watch your step, baby's tight, roaming through the door cold, breathing slow as we stroll, hoping nobody's scoping me. Watching for DJ ACP with the Glock that's cocked popping, mayo pumpkins to the block. That's what you get when you fucking with niggas that's drilling to the bitch.
Since December, no one has come out yet and said this is a common cold. Coronavirus, common cold. There will be no cure ever for it. What's the joke they tell you on the way into medical school? Something about curing the common cold. You can fucking cure the common cold or some shit like that. Yeah, that's right. All the people that know this are on such a high level they don't realize. All these idiots out here are going, oh, I don't have coronavirus, I have a cold. You know that's coronavirus, right? Oh, no.
Shots in front me quickly, so that Nina gotta protect me. Back a motherfucker, you done skipped with the wrong nigga. Now you got the answer to my motherfucking chrome trigger. I'ma handle bitches, you can't fuck with the shot.
Oh, these people are so smart.
Your ass, you go down, cause a nigga just
They put the tables in where the parking should be. So the servers can be running back and forth across the sidewalk all day. Right, so everybody walking down the sidewalk gets to mix with everybody at the bar now. Why? Why is this important? Why is going to the bar considered important? In South Africa, they cut off alcohol and cigarettes.
I ain't fucking with no cops. They don't like us getting involved in that
where your coronavirus spread came from.
Some of us feel we shouldn't even
all your illegal cigarettes and beer. I'm seeing fucking 3 idiots in the whole country. Right?
Mother Africa's the only salvation.
Look, your landmass the same size as mine. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
We in Oakland. In Oakland, we got police brutality.
You think
we got the white man interacting his billy club upside the black man's head.
$42 a fucking tax. That's because you're retarded.
Start wearing ass back to Africa.
You're supplying us.
I can't breathe around this bitch. Yeah, I can't breathe around this bitch. Yeah, I can't breathe around this bitch. Hands up.
You get as much for weed as for coke.
every corner. Let's stick together and be
It's cheaper than the weed.
I can't breathe around this bed.
That money gets so bad.
The shooter, mama was a trooper and taught me well to survive through hell. In my DNA to get big. Grandfather was a soldier. He's a war vet. You're a small vet all alone. Educate your dome. Coming of age, flip the page. 10 years in the making of a star. Going far. Wasn't born yesterday. Haters hate all day. Is their job cover 100,000 ain't shit. Rather starve and wait for millions. Man, listen. I rap for the children, you rap for the hood rats, cops killing kids, blood spill and get promoted. Nation voted, if he was a family member, I would have answered with crimes against that man that did that. Cause I grew up in a gang and was raised by the streets. But I'm corporate, so I educate, been racial profiled by cops 100 times to keep it.
You notice that corporate means you have a body, you already exist in hustle.
Just liquid. I told them they're wasting.
Corporate, because I registered, didn't know you did. It's spelled till, right?
I'll show you one time, force you to learn. I'ma show you one time and force you to learn. Then it's over for you claims and you forfeit your turn. Torture and burn, kill with no remorse or concern. I put your ashes on a mantle and force it to learn. Court is adjourned, life bids handed out, no speaking. You better watch your step, cuz no sleeping. Put your goons in a hot whip, slow creeping. Hopping out, masked up, the flow deepens. Season cast and blasted for no reason. They ride for the cause, blasting the Mohicans. Blast of a dying breed, you don't wanna die and bleed. You will perish violently if you see the iron squeeze. Time to leave, shit is gonna get mucky. No miracles, you ain't gonna get lucky. It isn't gonna play like that. You gon' stiff and you gon' stay like that. Lay right flat, you gone. Bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive, you gone. Bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive.
Shit waiting for the rush, keep the 40 tucked. Talking about you let the 40 ball niggas story up. Corner hot phone tap, follow home police watching. 10 drop pimps, hocking hoes that be street walking. A deep option is to get the beat popping. A peace offering went to saying rest in peace often. Sleep coffin 6 feet, death is a must. Arrested and cuffed, prison ride next is a bus. The road cold, but the paper keep us warm in the night. North face vital ace, but we pouring the light. Tunnel vision, eyes lock, all I see is a dollar. Piece of shit in the mirror, all I see is my father fucker. The game got us all twisted in the hurricane. Lost my mind when the drop came and the murders came. All my niggas getting bread on the grind. There's no bail when you're locked doing federal time.
It's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder.
We are not out of the woods yet, and our response
I want to know how you got the
COVID-19
first name Barbara and the
continues
last
to
name
require a common commitment to follow public health advice. Following that advice now will directly impact what kinds of interactions we can have with our friends and family in the future.
And despite concerns
Have you not noticed that
only
nobody here
5 new
considers
COVID
himself part of the
cases today,
society?
the lowest total since March.
I say I'm
And Dr.
anti,
Yancey
you
says
go,
a
I
decision
heard
about
that
whether
person.
Toronto,
That's a
Peel
commentary
Region,
on
and
this
Windsor
province.
Essex can move to stage 3 will be announced on Wednesday. Coming up at 8:48, good news. Some
Stage 3,
Canadian doctors
capital S,
predict
because
this
it's a
year's
thing that we
flu
do all the
season
time here.
won't
We're
be so
progressive just like
bad.
we always do.
The
You know, when
reason,
we were
up
kids and we had
next.
COVID.
680 News Time 844. Your overhead door
vital to your business. ProDoor and Dock offers fast, affordable 24-hour emergency service to all makes and models. Their technicians have the expertise to diagnose and repair your equipment the first time. Not happy with your provider? Contact ProDoor.
Raiders on the rise, only the strong survive. Strong survive, you gone. Wow, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive. Harder than a million grams. Slam empty the clip until I see him land. All out, empty the strip. People fleeing around. I need a plan, triple beam scale and a kilograms. Illegal jams, no options available. Coppers are killing you. Close friends feeling you. Penny ginger ale, a dude cushion a glass jar. Cocaine moving close faster than NASCAR. Trying to earn one, but you crashed in a firestorm. Trying to live the life of a G in a higher form. My dogs are riding for blood in and blood out. If you ain't down with my team, bitch, get the fuck out. I take a bullet for my fam, I'm my brother's keeper. It ain't about no music, the struggle's deeper. Drugs and tweakers searching for the best rock, trap house, T-grams, crack man, next shot. It's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive, you gone. It's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive.
My feet going rock climbing. All these niggas saying they rocked up, but none of them ain't got diamonds. Right, they not riding. Only thing I'm ducking is a cop siren. I'm out driving, going across an island. Till I find hide about fly hydrant. I'm not lying, so stop trying. Why the fuck is you lying? Damn, man, look like you back at it again. But that way is Angela back to why I still ride. These jump mats. Lord have mercy, y'all, these niggas sound like ragamuffins. Mac, daddy, man, that Mac had them jumping. To get a stack, I shock attack like one-on-one with Duncan. A crossover layer, maybe I might just stand with Duncan. Bodies on top of bodies, I had a coffins bunking, ain't pulling up in no front. American muscle that foot. Let's take it back to that raw. 10 men to that store. Yo, the big fun I got a number for. When the number's short, that's 100 more. I got 100 cars on the belly boy for the rugged road with a lines pop. Lines cut from my Iron King. I got a iron boy with a press niggas. I America. You niggas soft like what? You niggas want trying to fall for now. My niggas are press pinnacles like dinosaurs playing Diana Ross to get my body across like an arrow does. Beware of us. New Toronto or old Toronto. Same shit. Nah, just keep 6 cause 6 up whenever Drake snitched. New Toronto or old Toronto. Same shit. Nah, just keep 6 cause 6 up whenever Drake snitched.
To 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Community Town 848. Make the most of what comes next. With a bank account that gives you more. With the station
Get your body rock, and we won't stop. Get your body rock, feel the energy. It's a prophecy. Push up hip hop, get your body rock, and I won't stop to get your body rock. Wake up early morning, yawning, grinding, regular life's boring, going all in. Get your money, sunset strong. Turn into the Legos, to the Chivas in the studio, pouring local for the radio. Living is very cool, untouchable. My sound unforgettable, feel like I'm incredible. You know, on my back, brother, stack. Opening for big names, getting paid. When a company turns dreams to reality, streets filthy, still in it, no way out, smoke loud. Calm my nerves, medical terms, musical germs, rappers full of germs. Spraying with pesticide, lyrical suicide is an exercise. Well and alive, come for a ride, don't dive, stay fly, be tough. Come from the same cloth, I'm Jackson Rapido, your G-Money, I'm Nino, a street veteran, underground fest like KRS. Even though I'm blessed with stress, no rest for the week that I hate being biblical. Don't care if you're lyrical, if the product is selling, it's a miracle. We use it like equity, manipulating your energy. That's your legacy, protected with your life. Like they did Christ, make it right, sell it for the right price. Teach better kids the opposite, then mimic. Feel the energy, it's a prophecy. Watch out hip hop, let your body rock, and we won't stop. Let your body rock, and we won't quit. Yeah! Feel the energy, it's the prophecy. Watch out hip hop, let your body rock, and we won't stop. Let your body rock, 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 rock. Feel the energy is a prophecy. One shot hip hop, let your body rock, 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 and we won't stop. No, and we won't quit. Yeah, feel the prophecy. Feel the energy. One shot hip hop. Let your body rock, 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 and we won't stop. Rock, rock, and we won't quit, 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 and we won't stop, 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 and we won't quit. The energy, the prophecy. One shot hip hop. Let your body rock, 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 and you won't stop, 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 and you won't quit.
Flu seasons we've had in years. That's the prediction of epidemiologist with the University of Ottawa.
Well, because everybody's following the rules now.
Measures that have been in place due to COVID-19.
He does expect to see
then how are you going to explain it all gets closed?
problem stems from the fact that symptoms are quite similar to the coronavirus, so it may make measuring the diseases a bit more difficult. Like prosperity.
How the fuck are they the same?
851.
And with a look at your drive, here's Kyle Huckin.
This report brought to you by 407 ETR. If you're traveling the 400 heading
Say you mentioned the toll highway when they paid. We mentioned. You don't say, "Oh, it's a good alternative. Take the toll road." Randomly, you dumb cunt. There's money you could be making.
Black and green bandana, black bandana, 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 black bandana, black and green, black bandana, black bandana, black and green, black bandana, black bandana, black and green, black bandana, black bandana, black and green. I got gang shit, I'm gonna see the great shit, let it great shit. Let it bang shit, let it kind of bang shit. On the great shit, chop the stick with girl, you hate shit, girl, you back to day bitch. Them days did, off the block is 18. Massachusetts, made its way to New York State. Those are big spin, you can take the smoke and drink. We'll block that time, bricks and halves, 40 down. 30 down, second people got the scribe. Backs our shit, still with them, the streets are quick. Extra clips, like the dude, 210. Black bandana, black and green bandana, black
from Barrie south towards Innisfil. That's where you're picking up that impressive rain, just a very short amount of time. And then as we head over towards Orangeville, there's some rain over there that's traveling east right now. So areas like Oak Ridges and Newmarket, Aurora, and over towards Bolton, you'll start to see that rain as well very shortly. And Aaron already getting into some of that rain. So that means Brampton, Bramalea, Vaughan will pick up on some of these rain showers as well. This continues through the evening. This is all ahead of that cold front that moves through. That will knock us down to 18 degrees during the overnight. Tomorrow, 28. It will be a touch humid in the morning, but then cooling off in the afternoon. It will feel really nice. A chance for some evening rain showers on Tuesday. 27 for Wednesday, 26 for Thursday. Sun and cloud on both
5
days.
to 10
Chance for a few
millimeters of
showers,
rain.
but
A quick
all in all,
5 to 10
not as
millimeters.
humid and
Which,
much more comfortable. Right
when
now,
they say
29
a
at
quick,
Pearson, 30 at 680 News.
gonna
Tonight's
come
overnight
like
low,
that.
18. This extended
You're gonna step outside. As your foot reaches the floor, a puddle will appear bigger than your
That's why
foot.
you can save $1.36 on a 24-pack of Nestle bottled water. Now only $1.97. Walmart. Save money, live better. Coming up at 9 o'clock.
Why is it $1.25 a bottle?
Moving out as Toronto and the GTA could
I
see
guess
a
we're driving my
thunderstorm
business. I
move
won't
into
buy
the
it.
area.
Real
At
niggas don't
around
bring this. I
9
see niggas on
o'clock
TV ski videos, whatever, drinking from a bottle of water. You're a pussy, dick sucker.
Meantime, those hot spikes in temperatures not expected to
Some
be
fucking
around for the next week.
fucking video
With more
director told you to
seasonal
put your
temperatures
bandana. I get
moving
at
in.
this angle because it looks kind of gay. Very snappy.
Be seen. Feel seen.
Put the money off and put a bandana on and cover your eyes. It's so sick.
Amplify the
None of you
voices
can
of
do that.
diverse
Why?
women.
We've been doing all these things in the spirit,
presents the
backing
second
up.
edition of the inspiring digital series Startup and Slay. If you're a diverse woman from an underrepresented community, you're invited to
You're a
share your
diverse
small
woman.
business
One
story
woman
for the
who's
Startup and Slay
diverse.
digital
You
series
are already
presented in part
underrepresented.
by CIBC and Rogers Sports and Media. Apply online before July 31st at howshehustles.com. A new townhouse complex under construction in the Winter Park area will allow residents to live fossil fuel free. The complex is being developed by the Daniels Corporation at River Street.
Because houses use all sorts of fossil fuels. You fucking morons.
52% less energy than the developer's traditional townhouse complex. Longtio reports the homes will use all electric building systems, low VOC paint, high efficiency heat pumps, low flow faucets, and single flush low consumption toilets.
Oh,
Coming up in a
thanks.
minute's
Low flow
time, Richard
faucets,
Southern
so
will
we
have
have
the
to wait
business
20
report.
minutes to get water that doesn't have lead in it. Because your brass
Great
has
news.
lead in
The
it.
bank has approved you at a 2.39% rate.
What? That's way too
Oh,
high.
by the way, the fittings that they're hooking those houses up to are 150 years old.
It cannot be the same as our bank's mortgage.
I don't know what I'm
Totally
talking
the
about.
same. 5-year
The low
fixed
flow
rate,
toilets, you
same
gotta flush them
features.
3 times.
No
They
fees,
within the first 2 years, they knew this was bullshit.
I'm switching to Butler Mortgage. Enough of making the banks rich.
License number 12118, high ratio fixed
The
rate
low
APR
VOC,
1.93%.
they don't want to admit that they're purposely putting chemicals in the air.
Looking out for each
They're
other.
black
That's
people
why for
sick,
the
they're
Honda
poor
Checkered
people
Flag
sick.
event, we worked hard to lease you a nicely equipped 2020 Honda CRV LX for just $78 weekly at 2.99% and zero down, including the $750 Honda bonus. Having the CRV assembly line in Ontario
We just painted. We just painted. I didn't want you to
the
paint.
voice on the radio.
They're charging me extra money now.
Thanks for that too.
I didn't want.
Includes freight and fees for 60 months, taxes extra OAC. See HondaOntario.com.
Now the Fixed City News Business Report. Here's Richard
White girl
Southern.
in general, my name is white girl. Why are you complaining about my pussy smell? Because it stinks.
Deadline. Anyone
Wash
who
yourself.
owes the federal government money will now have until the end of September to pay. The deadline has been extended until September 30th. So if you owe money on your 2019 return, there'll be no interest until the end of September. Of course, the federal Liberal government extended the tax payment deadline from the end of April in a bid to try and keep more money in the economy amid the
payment deadline's not
COVID-19
April.
pandemic. All right, here's a
The
really
payment
interesting
deadline's
story.
July
He
1st.
now has one of the top-selling baseball cards. Yet he's not a baseball player, and we know for a fact he can't even throw a baseball very well at all. We're talking about Dr. Anthony Fauci, the top U.S. infectious disease specialist. He threw an abysmal first pitch to kick off the Major League Baseball season last week. It veered way to the left of the catcher. A top baseball card was created to mark the occasion. It featured a masked Fauci mid-pitch on the front. Would you believe it became one of the top-selling, in fact, the top-selling Topps Now baseball card. Topps Now cards are available for only 24 hours from the company's website. They sold 51,500 Fauci cards. Who did he beat out? Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Listen to what he just, listen to everything he just said. Then he's going to tell you in a second.
All right, it was a home run on the markets today. The TF.
Oh, he doesn't want to tell you. Got caught in a thing. Oh, they're selling for the $10 card, selling for $55 on them. No, people are asking $55. That's right. People are trying to get 6 times as much money for them. Is why they sold out. Nobody gives a fuck about who you are. Nobody in your country gives a fuck about you. Nobody outside your country gives a fuck about baseball cards except for Canada, which don't want you, whatever company.
Where you cuddled your loved ones while watching your
All our
favorite
shit's OP
movies,
cheese.
the airy ride that kept your feet warm on a cold day. I'm Steve Forberg, CEO of Decorium. We believe furniture is not just what you buy, but where memories are born and lives unfold. Our designers
I know what
to
a
design
fucking
a
public
space that
health.
you'll be forever proud to call home. Visit us today or shop
Who
online
bought
and
them?
save up to
Speculators. The beanie
65%
baby
off
people.
store-wide. Decorium, a
You're proud of
destination
yourself,
worth
too.
discovering.
Looking to add privacy and elegance to your windows? Think California Shutters. Now during Alexanian's Refresh Your Space sale, you'll find 7th Avenue California Shutters on sale at 40% off. They're modern, washable, and come in a variety of colors and louver sizes from 2.5 to 4.5 inches. These shutters are the ultimate in light control. Visit Alexanian.com for the location nearest you. And taking a look at some regional weather conditions in Orangeville, 25 degrees, some rain there right now. Oshawa, 29, a few clouds, and in Oakville, 30 degrees, partly cloudy sky. This is CFTR, 680 News Time at the sound of the tone, 9 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are Scott Burnett and Christine Ritchie.
Good evening. This is Monday, July 27th.
Here's what's making news this hour. After a stretch of hot and humid days, it looks like relief from the heat is on the way for Toronto and the rest of southern Ontario.
Patrick Brown isn't fooling around. In case of these idiots, they're getting big fat tickets. Brampton's mayor sending a message to the under 40 crowd after police bust a weekend.
The under 40 crowd.
200 guests.
$4 billion
one thing is something with the other.
Ontario municipalities financially strained by the pandemic. Ahead, what this means for Toronto's $1.3 billion deficit.
It was 1.4 an hour ago. An hour ago, it was 1.4 billion. Now it's 1.3 billion. Hey, maybe in another hour you'll have another 100 million.
The Blue Jays get off to a hot start in their series in Washington.
Same thing they do with the missing women.
One exhibition game. It's tomorrow.
Today it's 1100.
The Canada Revenue Agency again pushes back the tax deadline. TSX jumps more than 160 points, and gold settles at another record high.
So somebody's got something to do with people paying or not paying.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Kyle Hawker.
This report brought to you by Don Valley North Toyota. We've got lane restrictions coming in here in the airport.
Atteindre 4 milliards de dollars, une facture qui sera partagée entre Ottawa et Queen's Park. Voici la ministre ontarienne des Transports, Caroline Mulroney.
J'aimerais remercier mes collègues ministres des Transports de tout le pays qui se sont joints à l'Ontario pour faire valoir auprès du gouvernement fédéral la nécessité de consacrer des fonds pour le transport en commun afin de nous aider à relancer notre économie en toute sécurité. Cet accord est le résultat d'une collaboration entre les provinces qui ont écouté les municipalités et ont fait part de leurs préoccupations afin d'assurer la reprise économique pour tous.
À elle seule, la ville de Toronto estime que le manque à gagner causé par la pandémie de COVID-19 va s'élever à 1,350 milliard de dollars. En Nouvelle-Écosse, l'homme arrêté ce week-end dans la région de Bridgewater au terme d'une traque de 6 jours a brièvement comparu aujourd'hui par vidéoconférence. Tobias Charles Doucette fait face à 9 chefs d'accusation dont tentative de meurtre, voies de fait grave, agression avec une arme et vol d'un véhicule. Lundi dernier, l'homme de 31 ans avait pris la fuite après avoir agressé un policier qui répondait à un appel pour violence conjugale. Sa prochaine comparution est prévue jeudi. Crise des opioïdes en Colombie-Britannique, le gouvernement suspend un projet de loi.
Just trailing behind us a little bit, that's going to travel right along the 401 over towards Milton and Oakville and Burlington. So expect anywhere between 5 to 10 millimeters of rain from this system. And this is just ahead of that cold front. And once it moves through, the heat warnings are going to drop, the humidity is going to go away, and not be as oppressive as it has been. And temperatures will drop down to 18 during the overnight. 28 will be the high tomorrow. Much more comfortable, even though it will be a little humid tomorrow morning. Right now, 29 at Pearson, 30 at 680 News. Our overnight low, 18.
680 News Time, 9:03.
Happening now, relief from the high heat and humidity on the way for Toronto and the GTA. Wet weather expected to hit the city tonight, breaking the heat warning we've been under for the last few days.
Oh, it's coming, it's coming.
Live on the Weather Watch, Phil.
It's coming right now soon.
Meteorologist Carl Lamb says we will still see rain this evening, but the potential for severe storms is
Am I just pissed off because I'm overheated?
Many have been waiting for this. We can expect cooler temperatures as a cold front is moving through.
The rest of the week, we are going to enjoy seasonal temperatures. The humidity will be tolerable for much of the week. And we do have a few chances for rain on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
It's never rain again. No more clouds, no rain.
It says all in
Just
all,
hail,
much
snow.
more comfortable and no heat warnings in sight. As for the one that's in place right now, Environment Canada says it will likely be ended tonight. Phil Martino, 680 News.
What do you mean likely?
680 News time 9:04. Ontario health officials say the disturbing trend continues. More people under the age of 40 testing positive for coronavirus. Ontario's 119 new cases today. 64% were under 40. Several health experts saying partying seems to be the culprit with this past weekend. Saying
Can you tell us the 50% over underage?
Doug Ford responding to
Because that's
that
not the
gathering,
statistics
saying
are actually
it's absolutely ridiculous that Brampton police had to break up a house party over the weekend with 200 people in attendance. Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown also not holding back from speaking about the party.
But in the case
And I
of
think
these
you meant
idiots,
Peel Regional
they did
Police.
big fucking ticket. One of the things you get to have is having a house party of 200 people.
Is there a Brampton police
The
now?
homeowners have been charged under the Emergency and Civil Protection Act with a maximum fine of $100,000. Ontario's Associate Chief Medical Officer of Health says she's concerned after hearing about the large parties. Dr. Barbara Yancey says the spike in COVID cases in Ottawa has been connected to large indoor parties as well.
I know these past few months have not been easy for any of us.
It's been connected
Everyone
how?
has had to make
Verbally in the
sacrifices,
media or
big
with
and
the
small,
actual
as we
contact
navigate our
tracing?
work through this, our way through this unprecedented time.
Look, African
I
kids
know
that
we
don't
all
speak
want to see our
English,
friends
no
and get
written
back to
instructions,
having
6
large
months to crack
gatherings.
Android.
But we cannot do that just
We've
yet.
been doing this 6
She
months,
says
we
the
still don't have an
majority of
Android
the
app.
COVID-19 cases in Ontario
People
have
get
been
paid
in Windsor,
120 grand a year,
Toronto,
they still cannot
and
come up with an app.
Daytime video and photos have emerged of a popular Toronto Island beach packed with partygoers this past weekend. Social media shows hundreds of people on Helen's Point Beach not wearing masks and not keeping a safe
They're not
distance
wearing
apart.
clothes.
Where John Tory says the learning process of what to do and not to do
I
continues.
know exactly
At
where
the
it
moment,
is.
what
Because
we
when I was a
want to
kid,
do
it wasn't
is
a new
try
beach.
to really educate people.
All I
Again, there
remember
were
is
significant
dead
numbers
fish
of
and dead eels.
educational encounters between city officials, parks officials, bylaw people, and the public at different places, including Hamlet's Point. We want to just say to people what we've been saying all the way along, which is that you should avoid crowd scenes.
Why don't you go
Avoid
there
scenes
and
where it's
tell
almost
them?
impossible to
Because,
physically
we'll
distance
be doing
yourself.
that.
And Tory reiterated that the city will not close down beaches despite the overcrowding issues.
Ontario's 404 municipalities getting some big money from the provincial government. The Premier says $4 billion will be going towards helping local governments with critical services. With the details, we're joined live by 680's Michelle Mackey. Michelle.
Scott, the province announcing what it calls an historic agreement to bail out Ontario communities financially strained by the pandemic. But Mayor John Tory says it's still unclear how much of the $4 billion Toronto will receive to assist with the city's $1.3 billion deficit.
Thank you.
The size of the population and the size of the transit system we have
It's not
indicates
no,
that
you're
a significant amount of money, and that should go a long way to look at.
It is a hysterical moment for all of us.
Problem we had identified.
Half of the aid package is set to support municipalities, while Transport Minister Caroline Mulroney says the other half will assist with transit.
The COVID-19 outbreak has put tremendous financial strain on public transit systems, with some experiencing approximately 90% fewer riders, while facing added costs for cleaning and protective measures.
In the April peak, Toronto's COVID-19 TTC was losing an estimated $65 million a week. Reporting live, I'm Michelle Mackey.
680 News Time 9:07. Activists in the Jane and Finch community are demanding Metrolinx honor its promise to donate land for a community hub. 680's Mark Douglas has more.
Activists from the Jane Finch community say recent communications from Metrolinx are encouraging but vague, and it's not enough. They now want a commitment in writing that the transit agency will make good on donating a parcel of land for a new community hub.
But this experience has also shown us that we need honest partners.
What are you going to do with the
and clear
community center,
commitments.
stupid?
Metrolinx President and CEO Phil Verster promises the land
we're going to
will
allow
be
2
available
people at a
for this
time,
hub,
man, and have
but he
7
is not
staff to enforce the
repromising a
rules.
donation.
All of us will be white people with degrees from white schools that are named after slave owners.
City Councilor
Because
for Ward
you
7
happen to
here,
come from
Anthony
a neighborhood where
says
you're
he
a lot
will
less
hold
likely to
Metrolinx's
pass the
feet to the
fucking
fire on this one.
in school and all the rest of it. And if you do after 2, they will go, oh, no, and correct that.
That we are really clear
Because
at the
they
end
are
of the
not
day
black,
that
they
we
are
get a
paid
parcel
colors.
of land.
They're going
Near
to
Jane
prove
and
to you there's a
Finch, I'm Mark
difference.
Douglas.
Because you're too ignorant to know what it is, right?
680 News Time, 9:09. An update now on tonight's Blue Jays game. Toronto has gotten it back in the win column against the Washington Nationals tonight.
Les Trudeau sont bien en action. Des choses certaines, il y a sans doute des sous-marins qui aimeraient les couler. En tout cas, c'est toute la presse parlementaire aussi qui a cette affaire-là sous le radar.
We're nations. You're not nations. You're a confederation. We're a nation. You're a confederation. You are not. You're a republic. You're not. You're a union of states. Each state gets to decide what it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. My school was this in the school. Paid for by them. Yeah. Your school was numbered, wasn't it?
Je reviens à ceux-là qui in his driveway after a white car pulled up and opened fire. Police tell 680 News the man has been transported to a trauma center with life-threatening injuries. Police say this is not a random act and an investigation is underway.
A regional trauma center. Are those like the on-rucks? You got hidden trauma centers located
Association building in Barrie instead of the traditional Canadian flag to symbolize police solidarity. But a 680 Karen Taylor tells us it's taken on a different meaning in recent weeks.
Recently, the Blue Line flag has been waved by pro-police supporters countering protests across North America, demanding racial justice and an overhaul to policing. It's flown outside the OPP union headquarters since June 29th. But the union's president tells 680 News the flag is meant to honor fallen officers, not make a political statement. Rob Jamieson says after their traditional Canadian flag ripped, it was replaced with the blue-on-blue flag to pay tribute to Heidi Stevenson. That's the RCMP constable who lost her life in April's mass killing in Nova Scotia.
Oh, where your male officers were shooting up the fucking fire station.
With a political
No, every time the RCMP gets in a shootout, the males run and leave the female there. Oh, we got your back. You stay here. We'll provide cover fire. And they run. And the woman gets killed. That's happened like 4 times in my life.
Now the 680 News gas price update and processed price of gas not going to change at midnight, holding the $5.9 cents.
Greenland is getting ready for their 2020 season.
Forced to dig their own grave. That's a different province. Not with me. My DNA might be there, but you explained that one. Nope, can't make a case on that one. I just like taking holes in the woods, ain't it? I was going to say some more waiting for lightning and thunder and God damn, it's a go train. Go train!
Brought to you by 680 News Gets Answers. If you're traveling the highways right now, construction here and there in the city, but then, of course, north and west of us, we've also got that rain moving in. It's affecting portions of the 400 now, north of the GTA. So just drive with care if you're traveling up north of us. Also, portions of the 404 will soon be getting hit as well. We'll get a full update from Carl in a moment. If you're traveling the westbound 401, again, I was keeping an eye on this construction by the Allen in the Express. 2 left lanes are blocked off here, and now the delay is starting to pile up as they set the cones down. It's busy from west of Avenue over to the Allen in the Express. It's also the same construction planned west of the Allen in the Collectors. 2 left lanes to be closed as well. That will undoubtedly cause delays as well, so I'm keeping an eye on both. So far, just express lane delays here. Eastbound 401 has 1 delay as well, from Meadowvale to east of Port Union in the Express. The right lane is closed, and there's a delay through this construction zone as well, although it's not too heavy. You will find ramp closures on the 407.
So it's going to start raining somewhere up over there, but I don't see the clouds.
Are closed for construction. And then pointing out an issue on city streets, Burnhamthorpe closed from Erin Mills Parkway east over to South Millway, and that's because of paving work going on in this area. You'll also find Erin Mills down to a single lane through Burnhamthorpe itself because of the same project. Do you have questions about COVID-19? 680 News is working to get you the answers you need. Ask us anytime at 416-872-6800, and we'll work to get you the answer. Your next report at 9:21, and with the forecast, here's Carl Lamb.
Well, this is timed out pretty nicely, and it is actually headed into Newmarket as we speak. Some of this heavier rain at this point, and it is impacting areas like Bradford and Bondhead over towards Tottenham. So this is some of the heaviest rain, but behind it, trailing right behind it, are a few showers that are pretty intense, and those are making their way over towards Brampton and Bramalea, Woodbridge, and that'll be about 20 minutes or so away. So just plan for some rain this evening. Again, if you're traveling on the 400 up
kilometers an hour, you can't cover that distance
We'll
in
run
20
through
minutes,
some
bro.
of this rain, as Kyle had just mentioned, but we still have some that's going to hit the downtown core and portions of the GTA, including Markham, Etobicoke, Mississauga. You will get into some rain, generally about 5 millimeters.
That would be 60 kilometers an hour. But then the thing is, they said 90 kilometers an hour winds.
28 tomorrow with mostly sunny conditions, a chance for some evening rain showers. Right now it's 28 at Pearson, 29 at 680 News. Our overnight low tonight, 18.
680 News Time 9:14. On movie night, we all squeezed together with blankets and popcorn. So when it was time to
Inspiré jusqu'à quel point la fameuse mesure du possible est élastique, dur à dire. Donc pour lui,
we all crowd together for movies.
Did
you think about your commercial before like the pandemic?
L'idée de programmer des spectacles dans cette formule-là quand même à l'intérieur, on verra bien. La place des Arts de Montréal, entre autres, se dit aussi ouverte avec ses nombreuses configurations de salles. Payer, par exemple, des organisations artistiques qui pourraient présenter des spectacles et des programmations alternatives. Encore là, comme rentabiliser, pas évident. C'est plus pour les spectacles extérieurs, je trouve que ça devient intéressant. Je vous disais que les joueurs du milieu l'ont appris par les médias. L'exemple du Shazam Fest est intéressant.
Oh my God, yeah, maybe the one that's changing right now.
Depuis environ une quinzaine d'années. Et là, quand tout le monde ne peut pas faire leur festival, ils ont décidé d'organiser une série de spectacles devant un public réduit et diffusés sur Internet. Donc, ils ont annoncé jeudi matin une série de spectacles avec 50 billets. Ils ont appris 2 heures plus tard que soudainement, la capacité avait le droit d'augmenter à 250 personnes. Bonne nouvelle, donc. Bonne nouvelle pour eux, mais en même temps, ils doivent se retourner de bord quand même assez rapidement.
And I'm Christy Archie. Here are the top stories this hour.
The high stand humidity on the way for Toronto and the GTA. Well, severe thunderstorm watch has ended for the region. Wet weather is expected to hit the city tonight, breaking that heat warning we've been under for the last 2 days.
A man standing in his driveway in Pickering this afternoon is now fighting for his life in hospital after he was shot in broad daylight. Durham police say the drive-by shooting happened on Woodview Drive near Twin Rivers Drive in Altona. They believe that this was a targeted attack.
Good. Get everything out the way before we get locked down again. Fuck this shit. No, pussy's gonna act up and talk shit.
COVID-19 cases among the under 40 crowd. A reminder that just
what are you gonna do? Everybody's a lockdown. I'll walk right up to your house in broad daylight because nobody's gonna see me, dog. Somebody pass a message that this shit's really happening, please.
Blue Jays are back in the win column. They start off their series with the Nationals with a 4-1 win. Teoscar Hernandez doing most of the damage.
I know it's what you did. You shot broad daylight right after
Bichette was a late scratch. Bichette scratched with left hamstring tightness. As for Wednesday, I think you'll be excited about that because Jamie Campbell reports that Nate Pearson will make his big league debut.
Putting it on the French station. The French station ain't got no fucking...
Le producteur agricole Bruno Roy qui a littéralement décidé de donner ses champs de bleuets aux citoyens. La raison, bien comme d'autres, il y a un problème de manque de main-d'œuvre.
The Leafs had their first practice inside the bubble tomorrow. They'll have their lone exhibition game. That'll be at 8 o'clock against Montreal. As for the Raptors, they have one scrimmage game left. That's tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at Sportsnet.ca/590. 680 News Time, 9:17.
Hey, you guys want some distractions and entertainment? Well, we know that. We're going to give you a sports team. You get to name it. What are you going to name it? Son. Well, it should be a multiple of something because there's got like multiples, right? Like more than one player. Sons. Well, you know it's bad. That's a bad. I know because it gets hot here. Not as hot, but I know. Like heat. Because we walk around in the summertime, humid, 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 eh? Humid.